What is up, everybody? Hola. Hola. Tune up my amp. Hola. Hola. Beat it. How's it going, everybody? No sound. Refresh. Ahoy hoy. What happened? Go. Reload. Son of a... You son of a... Always assume. Here's an engineering trick. So, there's two things that I think that have helped me the most in my career. Okay? One, always assume I'm at fault. If something is not coming out the way I expected it to come out, I likely did something wrong. There it is, first one. So, do your due diligence to confirm that you have all your ducks in order. Then, when you produce information that you think is in disagreement with whatever it is, when you are proven wrong, which happens a lot in some cases, depending on what it is you're doing, then just be willing to say, like, oh, you're right. I will now incorporate that into me and what I do and my practices and my due diligences, if you will. And I swear the best thing you can do when it comes to like a lot of things in your life is remove the ego out of it. Once you remove your personal like feeling of like I gotta be right and I gotta feel good about being right, and you take on this aspect of like I want the right answer first, and then getting to the right answer and having the right solution is going to be better for my life in almost all situations. That will pay dividends to you in the engineering community. I assume so many other communities, because man, case in point, look what Adam was like. You should probably look at power instead of S&R. Totally right. He's totally right. Now I'm going to have to adopt that. I'm probably I got to go back and test like every damn antenna I've done now and reshoot a big motherload video and basically say, hey, look, we got to look at the power, just pure power. And he's right. He's totally right. And that's cool because you're like, okay, I want the right answer. I want the right answer so I can tell you, look, this is what this is. This is the right way to do this. This is what we should be looking to objectively do the right things. And if you put your life on that track, I promise you, it makes things a lot easier. And it opens you up to enjoying things and experiencing new things without feeling like you have to be right all the time. Try it. Well, you should also just get married. That's a real fast way to learn that you're wrong. I don't. What's one of my favorite memes is, oh no, I don't want solutions, only problems. Only problems forever. It's like a guy in Africa. Cracks me up. Yeah, so it's not about IQ. It has nothing to do with IQ. And in fact, I don't even consider IQ to be that important. It's really about I think it's I don't know. I think there's a lot of roads that can get people to focus more on like the right solution. Engineering is such a tricky thing because when you get right down to it, there are many solutions that will solve a problem, but there are not all solutions that are right that are ultimately the best solution to pick, right? And so you get in a situation where both solutions are good. One might be schedulally better. You might finish faster, but it might cost more. The other is less cost prohibitive. And maybe you pick up better support on the back end, or maybe there's so many different situations I've been in where you look at a lot of right answers, like good answers, but ultimately you have to just you have to pick the right one in a very specific situation. Sometimes it's time based, sometimes it's cost based, whatever. But it's the best thing you can do is remove your ego from a lot of situations. So that's all I'll say about that. Hey, welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. I bet you didn't expect that in the opening, but but there you go. So what are we trying to do out here? Well, trying to get you on the air, try to keep you on the air and help you understand some of what is going on, because I was where you're at. We've all been there. You're looking at the dark void, the darkness of amateur radio, and it looks so complicated and so broad and so immense. And you ask these questions and you get snarky replies from people online, and you get made to feel dumb, right? Frankly, made to feel dumb. And so one of the biggest things we do in the Ham Radio Crash Course is try and prevent that as much as possible, right? Humans are still humans. I can't be online 100,000% of the time, regardless. The goal here is to remove the gates. No gatekeeping. We all started in the same place. We all have the same experiences, pretty much. We have very much the same experiences. Don't worry. You're not asking a question that is something that we haven't all been in the same situation before. That doesn't mean that, like, we're not going to answer it for the thousandth time, because that's a big problem on the internet. Everybody's like, oh, just go use the search tool. Go look at the forum posts. By the way, you should do that. This goes back to, like, making sure you're not the idiot, right? Go back to how I started this. Do search the forums. Do search the Facebook posts. Do search the Discord, although I know Discord, the search function, sucks. That's the worst part about Discord. The search function is trash. So if you ask a question for the thousandth time, don't worry about it. You can just say, hey, Discord search sucks. I tried. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Link is in the video description to join us on Discord. Would love it if you come on out here. Join us. We can hear your beautiful voice. You can ask your question, and we can have a little parlay. We can get little questions back to you, because almost all situations, we got to have something coming back to you. You got to give us some more information. What's your budget? How much land do you have? Do you got trees? You know how many times trees come up as a question and answer period for, like, where to put an antenna? I don't know. How many trees do you have? How tall are they? Can you throw wire up in them? More often than you expect. But the best way to get this started is, let's just go say hi to our Discord friends. All of our people hanging out in the community on our Discord. It's a great time. Hope you join us. Let's hop on in there. Oh, wow, we got a big crew of people. Let's hear their beautiful voices now. Who's first, do you think? Think it's going to be Dawn? We'll see.
Go back and update your prices a year later on that video.
Not Dawn.
No.
Abri! How's it going, everybody?
Hey, Josh, how's it going? Hey, Mike, I agree with what you said. Set a goal, do it your own, and you'll have more, that you earned it. It's like you instead of having somebody hold your hand. Is that basically what you're saying?
Jason's
I can give you a fish and feed you for a day, or I can teach you to fish. However that saying goes.
We're getting all philosophical. We're getting all philosophicals in here. What was catch me up on the conversation if you can. Let Mike do it.
A cheat sheet for the JPC 12 antenna lengths, and I'm like, I purposely never give lengths for my antennas when I do videos, because my goal is to show you what I'm doing. But I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to do the math for you, 468 divided by the frequency, or 300 if you're doing it in metric. Right. Like, figure it out. You know, I'm giving you the tools, but I'm not going to make it for you. That's kind of the gist of it.
That's one of those we can exchange money for solutions where you just buy an antenna analyzer and then you figure it out.
Josh, I'll just give you beer. You'll give me the answer.
Not necessarily. It depends on the situation. I cannot be bribed that easily. Most of the time. It depends
on the beer.
Oh, that's true.
Beer.
That's true. No, you cannot bribe me with pickle beer. That
Hey, Josh, I do want to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank all my family. I just purchased my new first HF radio, the Yasu 891. And as you came in the end of the conversation, we were talking about the JPC 12 antenna I'm about to get. But yeah, I'm all stoked about this new radio, and it's going to be my first HF. And hopefully, one of you family members will be my first contact.
Me? Well, get that thing on FT8, and every Saturday you can catch me. Although I have been chasing a lot of POTA. I have found myself sitting in parking lots, waiting for kids to get out of practices and kung fu and tennis and math class and after school stuff. I've been rocking a lot of POTA. There is a surprising amount of like what seems like really late on the East Coast to me is like 7 o'clock. It's like 10 o'clock, people activating POTAs on the East Coast. I'm like, all right, have at. Let's do it. I've been chasing on CW and on single sideband. It's been a lot of fun. So you POTA guys, you're keeping me radioactive while I sit in my truck waiting for my kids. So thank you for that.
Josh, I'll just say this. 12-meter FT8 is absolutely rocking into Eastern Asia tonight for California.
I never point my beam east, aside from southeast to Australia, because I get JA'd so hard.
Yeah. So do I. Northern California. But I've been working Asiatic Russia. I've been working Taiwan, China,
Really?
Indonesia tonight. It's just been wild for the last 4 hours now.
Oh wow! All right. Well, we may do that. We may twist this whole thing around.
And I don't even have a beam to point. I have an end-fed.
Well, you can rotate the end fed.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Gosh, I might have to borrow Mike's DigiRig for a while, so I can talk to you on FTA. I wonder how that would go down.
There you go. Get that thing going. Yeah, get the 891 DigiRig. That is the right solution to that problem, and that is a bit of a problem. The 891 DigiRig is a slam dunk.
That's what I'm looking at from your video and Mike's video. That's the best way to go. 2 cables, 1 USB port, set your parameters up, watch your video and his video to make sure you set the ALC right down to nothing, and then rock on.
I don't even know that I made a video about my 891 DigiRig. I don't think I did.
Yeah, you did. It's called Rescue Me, Josh. I need help with
FTA.
No,
that wasn't a DigiRig. That was not a DigiRig. That was not a DigiRig. That was Shane. That was like 4 freaking years ago when I made that video. That was a long time ago. But yes.
Yeah, but it's the same principle.
Yeah, because that is a fundamental, you got to get that ALC low to the best of your ability. It's not that big a deal, but yeah, it's something to consider. Anyway, yeah, great. Appreciate that, Jason. All right, so here's how this works. We take your all newcomer comments and questions first. So if there's anybody here on the Discord, we start at the Discord. Always start with the Discord. Anybody new to the Discord, their first time, that would like to say hi or ask a question, we're here for you first. You get priority. We want to hear from you. We want to help you out. We want to get you on the air, answer whatever your problems are to the best of our ability. So if you sound like what I just said, a first-timer would like to say hi or ask a question, come now.
Hi, Josh. I've been listening to you since you were on Mike Glover, man. I actually got a bow thing.
There you go.
For all the comments. And man, dude, you guys are talking 13 floors above me, and I will say I am the guy, man. You can hold my hand. I'm new to this.
I appreciate the energy. You got good energy, and you're starting at the ground floor. That's cool. What are your questions? How can we help you?
So I just got a side-by-side, and so I have the bow thing. Now I'm running a rugged radio setup on my I got a Kawasaki side-by-side because I got a family. Want to make sure if I go out riding with people, we can talk to each other. Something happens, whatever, I can communicate outwards. And I got a rugged radio M1, which I think is a business band VHF, and then I also got a handheld GMRS radio that where I can select between the VHF and the GMRS radio, but I have no idea how to set up any of these things. And I heard you guys were talking about the inputs and the different files to input to the radios. I'm totally new to this whole thing.
I'm really glad you clarified Kawasaki, because when you said you got a side-by-side, I was going to ask you, is that 12 gauge or 20 gauge? So I hear where you're coming from. All right, so with the M1, it looks like I found it. That is a they call it the Race Series antenna, digital and analog. All right, interesting. So I have not gone to Rugged Radio in a while. Rugged Radio and I have had some talking points in the past here. What do you know? What frequencies this thing operates on?
No, I do not.
Okay. Let's see.
Is it TMRS or regular?
Well, I don't know. He said it's business, so I don't know what the business is that this thing's operating on. But it doesn't say GMRS.
VHS. It says VHS transceiver and features.
That doesn't help me because there's business frequencies in VHF. There is MERS frequencies on VHF. There's amateur radio. Yeah, so that's the
FRS.
No, FRS is in UHF.
I'm at my side-by-side right now in my garage.
Perfect.
I don't know if I can turn this thing on and whatnot.
Well, okay, so let's go back. Let's start with the M1. What are you trying to do with it? You want it to work?
I know. Yeah, definitely want it to work. I think my biggest concern is because they are two totally different, I guess bands or styles of communicating from the GMRS to the VHF.
Mm-hmm.
I got both because I wanted to be able to where if I'm with a group and everybody has VHF, I've got them, right? It's also with the GMRS.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got both of them. So really, I just kind of want to set them up because to me, it looked like on the M1 radio, I just got it all installed, that I can't like manually input frequencies. It's like I have to preload them.
Ah, okay. So that's kind of where I was thinking this was going. All right, I'm a little concerned about this now. All right, so let me see if I can break this down a little bit. Can I embiggen this? All right. So this radio, I think, is a channelized radio, meaning that it needs to be programmed in kind with other radios that you're going to interoperate with that are also channelized. So that means that you'd have to have another one of these, or you'd have to know people that are also on a radio like this to be able to communicate with them. Do you have people like that? Or radios?
I do have radios because I believe my Baofeng is VHF, and then I have the R1, which is their handheld version of the M1. Just so then that way it's like if I have to get out and be like a spotter, like say, or my wife's got to get out and be a spotter, she can be, and we can just talk to each other.
So you can't assume that go ahead, Frank, what were you going to say?
If you look at the user manual, it does say to program your radio and access advanced features, visit RT Systems.
Oh.
Yes.
It is literally the second page of, first page after the safety of the manual.
Interesting. Okay, so let's make this easy. Do you have the handheld with you?
I do.
Okay. Is this radio set up in your side-by-side?
I can turn it on, yes.
But it's set up. You got an antenna. It's connected to power. You should be good to go there?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm just running like an antenna whip. I'm not running like a stealth or anything on it yet.
Yeah. So my curiosity is if the channels on the M1 line up with the handheld that you have. Do you know that they line up or not?
No, I haven't. I kind of haven't. Because I just got it installed today, so this was kind of my first chance to get into it.
So here's what I would do. I would turn on the M1, put it to like channel 1, and then get your handheld and put it on channel 1 and see if they can crosstalk with each other. Meaning you key the mic on the M1 and you hear the other end on the handheld and vice versa.
All right, give me 1 second.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, thank you. 73 is our kitchen. That's that right on the plane company. You guys be safe and have fun.
Hey, Jason, you got a hot mic.
No, he's saying.
I think he was saying bye to us.
Oh, all right. Take it easy, Jason. See ya. I thought he was talking on the radio.
I'll catch you later.
See ya, man. Have a good one. So where we're going with this is, I don't know what the channels are on this radio, right? Because you probably can change a menu item to show the frequency, but a lot of these commercial radios, they want to be channelized and have like a name and not a frequency. Usually users of radios that are channelized are not going to have a frequency display. They're going to be more just like channel emergency, channel the dock, channel factory floor, whatever. That's a business radio. That's a commercial radio from my point of view. So I'm guessing that to our friend here who's trying to get this set up, they need to go get the RT systems, right? They need to plug in the USB, download the frequency set, and then they need to mimic that frequency set to all of their radios that they want to interoperate with. The Baofeng might not be able to do it. It might not operate in that frequency space. Not saying it can't. I'm saying I don't know. And William, I kind of agree with you. GMRS probably would have been a better option.
Yeah, the good news is I've got both. So I can actually run both in my side-by-side.
Yeah, so GMRS is going to make this way easier because then you just line up the two channels and then you're talking. It's no big deal. You lock the thing, you're all locked in. You're all good, right? The Baofeng can be easily programmed for all the GMRS channels. You just can do that with Chirp, with an FTDI cable. Easy peasy. There's nothing to it.
Hey, Josh.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, digging down in the manual, it looks like its frequency range is 136 to 174. It's got 1,000 channels, and it's got channel spacing of 6.25, 25, 12.5, and 25 hertz.
That's a pretty wide frequency set.
Yeah. It doesn't say that doesn't indicate that it is a channelized radio. So I'm assuming it is channelized in programmable channels. Unlike the GMRS or FRS radios where those are fixed.
So I'm looking at the buttons on this thing, and nothing screams like VFO on this thing. So I have a feeling it's channelized. I could be wrong.
So yeah, no, it's definitely channelized because they have presets in it for all the King of the Hammers or like the Mint 400 or the Baja, where those teams use those frequencies, so where you can chime in and listen to them.
Yeah.
And as I'm scrolling through it, I can put my own assign my own as well, but then there's some preloads already in there. The problem is the M1's preloaded, the handheld is not.
Okay. So I'm assuming the M1 functions similar to the rugged M1. The handheld functions like the M1 in that you probably need a programming software. Did it come with a USB cable?
No, it didn't. But if I did my research properly, they're just rebranded Baofengs.
Oh.
So my programming
okay
should actually work.
So yeah, try your programming cable. Do you have an FTDI cable?
Is that the one that goes on the side for an earpiece to a USB?
Yes, exactly.
There's a 4-pin on the back that says for programming.
So there is a specific type of programming cable. It's called an FTDI. The little dongle that goes into the computer has the chip on it. They're a little specialized. They're not. You may have one. You might have one. How you'll know, though, is when you plug it into your computer, and if the computer acknowledges the cable, then you should be good to go. You should use something like Chirp to be able to program it. The problem is I don't know the frequencies that M1 is tuned to. So I can't tell you what to clone the frequencies to your handheld to match. You see what my problem is?
Correct. Yeah, I'm sure if I got on and I looked at the frequencies on the channels that are on here, that I could just import my own on both and just store them to where it's okay, I can just go to channel 13 on the handheld and then have 13 on the one that's in the side-by-side, and it just goes right to that frequency.
Right. So the website, Adam, were you going to say something? Go ahead. Was that you?
So if you search around for rugged radios frequency list, you can find It's various lists. I don't know how reliable they all are going to be, but the link I put in the live stream chat also shows that these are operating under the business license. So they have a business license across the U.S. for a bunch of frequencies, 35 to 60 watts, I think they say, depending on 10 nationwide commercial band frequencies, 35 watts, 60 area-specific commercial band frequencies at 60 watts. So for a radio to be legal to use on the business band, they have to follow the FCC Part 90 rules. And Part 90 requires that the radio is pretty much locked down. You can't have a VFO, and you can't front panel program it. So that's why they're all set up that way. What's odd about this to me is that to operate on Part 90 business class frequencies, you need to ID periodically, and if they're not telling people what the IDs are, then I don't know how they're going to be compliant with this at all.
Yeah.
And to add to drop in here a little more, as Tim said, it looks like they're just VHF. And they are DMR capable. That's the digital mode that they're capable for. I'd be curious what the FCC ID on it is.
So to get you running, I dropped a link in the video description to the cable or the RT system software. It's $35 for the cable, which, by the way, it looks like just a straight pass through USB-A to USB Mini, not micro, Mini. So if you got one of those, then you can probably just buy the software for $25. That's a direct download to your laptop. And then you can go into that software and you can download the frequencies from, although Adam already gave you the list. With that list, you can then upload that with your Baofeng programming cable to your handheld, and then you should have interoperability between those two, which what seems like your goal, I think, at this point, at this first goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I know it's probably a lot of rookie, annoying questions. I do plan, because I know I can get it unlocked. I do plan on getting my FCC license. I did research that, and I'm going to try to take a couple practice tests and do some studying. I know you were big on that a couple years ago, and some of your videos that you're doing a couple years ago.
I'm still big on it.
Yeah, we just don't like to discourage anyone.
No. That's the thing is, like, radio is radio. We all generally know how they function. The rules are a bit different, as Adam pointed out, that, these are channel-locked radios, meaning they don't have a VFO. I don't have a dial that I can just spin around and get different frequencies, because it's supposed to be a commercial radio. It's supposed to be for doing a job, a business, working in a business. And there's no reason for people that are working a business to really have a VFO, at least from my point of view. You guys might disagree with me. But so there's the first part of your quandary. So you probably need either this M1 kit to get the frequency, or you need to take Adam's list of frequencies.
Okay, Josh, it's sorry to interrupt. It's not just me. Your volume dropped like 20 dB.
Oh, okay. I know what that is. Hold on. Interesting. Still messing with me.
Yeah, the list I posted just has the channel names. You might be able to find the frequencies if you searched around, but it would potentially be difficult. If there is a way to be able to program the radio, you should be able to, in that process, read from the radio and get a list of channels, and that would allow you to program the Baofeng to do the same. And if they're not going to be ham channels, they're going to be in the business class band. People do use Baofengs in those frequencies pretty regularly, and I think if you stick to the ones that were originally programmed in the rugged radio, your odds of having issues are pretty slim. Make sure you do program those to the narrow deviation bandwidth, 12.5 kilohertz bandwidth for transmit, because that'll keep you from interfering with and overlapping on other frequencies that others might be using.
Okay, all good to know.
All right, so that covers you. I should be back, by the way. My volume should be all
you're good now.
Yeah. So that should cover you on the M1 radio and the handheld. So what, do you have a second question, or did we answer them all?
I think I've got plenty to research on it right now. I mean, I do have a GMRS handheld as well that will interface with the intercom system, just in case. Because when I told people, I was like, "Yeah, I got the racing radio," and they're like, "Dude, that's like next world stuff. Everybody just uses family GMRS."
Yeah, I have to agree with them, because you're literally on a different frequency set than they are right now. Like, you're on VHF, GMRS and FRS is on UHF. So you probably got to do what Romans do. Like, if everybody's using GMRS, use GMRS. It makes it easy.
Yeah, it's $35 and it covers the whole family.
Yeah, there's no reason not. As a ham guy, I do all my ham stuff. That's all I do. There's no reason not to have a GMRS license. 100%.
Okay. Yeah, because I've got their handheld GMRS too, so I gotta play with that thing too.
Now, here's what I gotta tell you. Shop somewhere different than Rugged Radio. They're just too expensive. They're milking you for money, man.
Oh, absolutely. This was not a cheap setup at all.
No, dude, you can do this so much cheaper. So much cheaper. Just buy a Baofeng, man, and program. Buy 8 Baofengs. That's the cost of like one Rugged Radio. The Baofengs are $17. You can program them all the same, and they'll do all the same things. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, and if you go to a swap meet, you can probably find the Baofengs for cheaper than that.
Yeah,
Buddy of mine just sold his Baofeng, I don't know which one it was, for $10 at the swap in Loomis.
Yeah, never Rugged Radio. There's like never a reason to buy anything from Rugged Radio.
Yeah, for what you paid for that, and forgive me, but you could have bought one of the Wouxun KG1000s, which is a 50 watt.
Yeah,
it's a 50 watt GMRS radio, and I bet none of the people that you're talking to that have GMRS are running that much power.
Yeah, by the way,
it's a great radio.
Link in the video description. You might get a discount if you go to my link at buytwowayradios.com. I think I got the link in the video description. You can get really nice GMRS radios there, and you'll be set. A 50 watt GMRS radio and a side-by-side is going to be perfect.
Yeah, and also when you get your ham license, Wouxun sells a radio just like that, but it's licensed for the ham bands. So if you learn that radio, you'll already have a leg up learning the other radio. But Two-Way Radio sells ham radios. They sell all kinds of things. It's a good place to go.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. All right.
So it was just getting it to integrate, because we've got the 4 headsets, the whole intercom, you know what I mean, the whole 9.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying you could have done it cheaper, but to be honest with you, you sound pretty savvy. I think you already know that. So I don't think we
Yeah. And then I've got 2 Baofeng BF F8 Hotel Papas. So I've got 2 of those. So I've got the handheld from Rugged. So
there you go. Right on. All right. Well,
Eric in the chat has it right. Take that if you can. Send that Rugged Radio back and start all over.
Well,
I'm definitely not ripping my side-by-side apart again.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's leave the gentleman with his radios. Let's get him to get on the air at least, and then he can figure out what to do in the future. It sounds like he's not against buying more radios. So let's he sounds like he's already one of us. You already have to respect that. So there you go. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys taking the time and answering my questions.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Who's next? Now you know how this works. You want to say hi, first timers. Say hi or ask a question, come now. That was it? Oh, wow. All right. Well, there you go. Remember, first timers, you guys are the reason we're out here in the beginning. We're trying to give priority to get your questions answered. So if you're here for the first time, never been here before on the Discord, we want to help you out, get you on the air as quickly as possible, help you solve your problems if you haven't already. So anybody that sounds like, come now. Okay. All right. Well, if that changes, because I'm seeing some people in here that I haven't necessarily seen before on the Discord.
Hey, Josh, I've got a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, we lost him. Go ahead. You ask your question.
Sorry, trying to figure out my PTT button.
Yeah.
Sorry, first time on here and did a Discord too. So how's my audio?
Sounds great. Easy enough to make a contact. We're good to go.
Alrighty. Quick question. Well, this may not be that quick. Got my technician license back in September 24, and I've been part of the local club and have started running some of the local VHF repeater nets for them, like the weekly club nets.
Cool.
And I guess my question for y'all is, do you have any advice or recommendations for making VHF nets fun?
Yes. Well, what are you doing now?
So not much. It's a directed net, so it's basically just, hey, the net's on, everybody check in, and then you go back through the list of check-ins and say, hey, anybody want to talk? And I guess what bothers me right now is I get people who check in, and then it's just like, just checking in, say hi, I got nothing to talk about, and I guess I want more interaction and conversation starters.
Okay. I got a couple of thoughts on this. All right. So I've seen two nets that are very successful. The first net is the trivia net. Trivia nets are always extremely popular. The Win system has an incredibly popular trivia net. Happens every night. Covers the world basically with check-ins. It goes for hours. I have been listening to a repeater on the Win system. I have walked for over an hour with my wife, and we never got an opportunity to check in. That's how long the check-in lines go on these trivia nets. Okay, but it's a networked repeater system, so internet linked, that whole thing. Trivia net, huge. TechNet. So TechNet can come in two ways. TechNet can be, and by the way, you're not locked in on any of this. If you just want to do something fun, you can change this up. TechNet can be, you find a speaker, and the speaker talks for an hour or something like that. Take some questions over the net. Really fun times. The Soda guys do a lot of those. I've been on a couple of tech nets where they do like a speaker on behalf of something. That's a great spot. The other tech net is where it's just open questions, kind of like what we're doing right now. The problem with the open tech question line is that you just might not get anybody that has a question. And so you're just kind of sitting there going like, oh, we're here for questions. Anybody want to talk about questions? Yes, no, maybe. And that can feel kind of bad too. Have you tried any of those? We lost him. There he is. Waffles is back, maybe. Waffles?
Hey, I'm back.
There he is.
Yeah, so the trivia net, I have to say, I do have some experience with that. We have one guy in the club who also has commercial broadcasting experience, and he decided to do that one night, and I think we had a record number of check-ins, and everybody checking in had something to say or had some guess at the trivia. We even had one guy who was like, I'm not going to answer the trivia because I know the answer because I got the awarding question. Something about the tech nets, the club I'm in has a monthly in-person meeting where we have presentations and stuff. So I don't see that sort of tech networking. And we had a newbie net where people can come in and ask questions. And that was a separate net earlier in the week, and we ended up dropping that because it was 4 times a month, and we were running out of people who were willing to be net control, and we weren't getting a lot of participation either.
Okay, so here's where I'll flip this on you a little bit. How much, as you being the net operator, are you talking about what you have going on? So you said, hey, we tried to do a net where people talk about the projects they're doing. Are you breaking the ice by saying what you are working on?
Not really, mostly because I'm also new to this and not usually working on anything.
Yeah.
I do, when people do bring up stuff they're working on, I do try to kind of probe them.
Yeah.
And ask them questions and kind of keep the conversation going.
So here's the greatest thing. It's the biggest trick that you could ever pull is you just start talking about something you're interested in. Say, hey guys, I know we're out here doing analog or whatever a repeater's on, but I'm thinking about getting a hotspot, and so I kind of want to hear what you all have to think, because you've probably all experienced more of the hotspot world than I have. Where would you go with that? What kind of radio would you buy, and maybe what hotspot would you have? And then let's go down the list, the check-in list, and you tell me your thoughts. So there's just one. There's the whole net right there.
Yeah, I've done similar stuff before. Maybe not that as advanced questions like that, but I've had silly stuff like, "Hey, where do y'all buy your coax?" Because I was waiting for some Elmer to come back and be like, don't ever buy it off Amazon or something like that.
Okay.
But I ended up getting some free RG8X out of the deal. So it was like, oh, hey, if you want coax, I got some that's laying around.
Do you see where I'm going, though?
I've tried that before.
Do you see where I'm going, though, with that question? Because that question is going to drag out a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and they probably have built their opinions off of a couple of years of experiencing the change in the world of hotspots, digital modes, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I understand where you're going with it. I would have to tailor the question specifically to the local group because not that many guys are into digital.
What are they into?
Pretty much all of them are appliance operators.
Okay.
Not a lot of. There's a couple guys who are really into the digital stuff. We got one guy who's got the hotspots and all that going, Echo Link and that sort of thing.
Okay, what do they do with the radio? What do they do with it?
What are honestly, they doing? On the VHF side that I'm familiar with, not much.
No. I'm not saying VHF. I'm saying, what do they do with their ham radios? Like anything. HF? Do they do POTA? Do they do SOTA? Do they do field day? Do they build HF antennas? Do they build amplifiers? Like, what do they do? Like, what do you guys do?
Some of them are builders. Some of them do POTA. It's a mix.
Okay, this is great. No. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So there's like 5 questions that come to mind easily. Hey guys, today on this tech chat, you could call it a tech chat, we're going to talk about POTA antennas. What antennas would you recommend for Parks on the Air? Next thing, still in POTA. Hey, how do you do POTA? Do you have a logging software that you like? How do you log your contacts? Do you use a particular mode? What have you found is the best mode? Hey guys, we're going to do a HF home antenna TechNet. Let's talk about your HF antenna. Tell me about VHF, UHF antennas. What antennas do you use to get to the repeater? What have you tried in the past? What is the best? Hey guys, have you ever done, just dive into what they're doing, right? And then make that a question, and then you will get a ton of response.
Yeah, and there's always what Evan does on the 40-meter net. Even I think in the digital net, they do the same thing, although I don't check into that one very often.
No, everybody, Adam and Don, I think he's having to coax it out of them.
Right, but I mean, and we do the same thing in our like Richardson Wireless Club. Now, the club I'm in now, the one here, does something completely different. I'll tell you about that later. But we basically go, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing this week in ham radio? And you start at the top of the list after the check-ins, and you go,
But
hey, so and so, what did you do this week?
He's saying they
in
don't
ham
even
radio?
reply to that. He's saying they don't even reply to that.
Well, but has he asked the question? You're talking about asking questions.
Well, he said he did.
That
Waffles, tell me, did you ask that question? What are you doing in ham radio today or this week?
Yeah, and you go, hey, individual, what did you do in ham radio? And you start at the top of the list and you work your way through it.
That's you, Waffles. Go for it. Take it away, Waffles.
I think he's having trouble with the PTT.
We'll just.
Sorry, can you hear me, guys?
We can.
Okay, sorry, trouble with the PTT button.
There you go.
Yeah, so I don't deliberately ask that question often. It's kind of implied due to the structure of the net. But a lot of the times I get replies that are like, "Oh yeah, I ain't been doing much this week with radio," and that's about as far as I go with it.
Then okay, so first, never imply anything on the radio. Say it explicitly what you want to get in response. There's the first thing. And then just ask them, what are they doing? Like, are you talking on your, are you driving to work and just using VHF, UHF? Are you building something? Have you been experimenting with something? Are you trying something new? Did you buy something new? You can't tell me a ham that's actually like an active ham that isn't either shopping for something, pricing something, or has recently bought something in regards to the hobby.
Yeah, the fact that they're checking into the net tells me that they're somewhat active. And if you're an active ham, because if you sit around and do nothing all the time, you're not even a ham radio.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up, guys. We're closing this net down.
Yeah, we're closing the club down.
Yeah,
Hell.
right? So, I mean, I feel that, okay, so let me go back. I'm going to go back to some feelings that I'm getting just from hearing you. You sound a little pessimistic. Are you disappointed by the activity in the club? Or like, where are you at right now? Where's your head at?
So that's also a really good question, because I feel like I'm disappointed with myself as NetOp for not putting enough. And again, I'm not the only NetOp, but I feel responsible for kind of making the net a good experience for the other operators in the club. Yeah. And I feel like I haven't known where to start with putting enough effort into setting it up properly and preparing those questions or trivia or whatever.
Okay. I mean, I can understand that. Well, imagine how I feel when I screw up a live stream. Like it happens. Don't worry about that. First, you're out there putting in the effort to do something that other people are not doing. So first of all, kudos to you for being a NetOp and willing to take that time and do that. So there's the first thing. So you can put all that other stuff to the side because all those other people are checking in. You're running it. You're the one taking the time to operate and run it. So give yourself a little pat on the back for that, first of all. Now, second, okay, this is a YouTube favorite quote of mine. Yet they can't all be hot bangers. Every net can't be your top net. It can't be, right? Like maybe for a while every net will be better than the next net. But at some point there's a crashing down period where you cannot attain the crippling heights that you have climbed, right? So then it's just a matter of let's figure out how to work through a couple of topics where we all just have a discussion. We're all here together having a discussion. And if people are just like unwilling to engage, well, then maybe it's time to ask a little bit more pointed questions, right? Maybe, honestly, there's a funny way to turn this and be completely self-serving to you as the NetOp and be like, hey, I'm a newer ham, and I'm also your NetOp, so you're letting me do this. I'm going to run wild with the microphone and say, hey, I want to set up an HF antenna. What is the first antenna that I should put up? You should just start asking questions that you have as a ham and be like, hey, I'm gonna do what I want to do at this point because they're letting you do it and you're a newer ham, so why not ask the questions that are concerning to you?
Yeah, that's fair. And I guess the mentality is, hey, if you don't like how I'm running the net, you can volunteer for the next one and show me how it's done.
Well, I don't know that I would be adversarial with it, but I would just say like, hey, I'm gonna ask questions that I think that the newer people in amateur radio would ask, and that might be a way you can do that, like once every other net, where you start asking like questions to help newcomers and engage with people that are local to you. That makes
Sure.
sense?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
May I make a suggestion here?
Frank, if it's like get everybody on Motorola, I don't know if that's the suggestion.
No. That's
I'm
Shane's.
kidding.
If Shane's in here, that's Shane's
Yeah, where's
role
Shane
tonight.
at?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's Shane at? No. Use ChatGPT. Ask it for some interesting net. Ham radio or amateur radio net related questions that are rare or unique, or use ChatGPT to help you come up with some spicy topics for the net and bring those to the table during your net night.
Yeah. And we actually, in the club I'm in now, we literally have nets probably 3 times a week. And people are all over them. And the one that comes to mind is the one where it's called the rag chew net, and they literally come on, and the net control operator has a question of the week, and it's not necessarily 100% ham radio related, unfortunately, because where I live, some of those are even political questions, but they stir up conversation, and everybody and somebody has an opinion, and then what he does is, like, once that somebody throws out an opinion, he gives other people chance to come out and throw theirs out, and it just really it can go for an hour, 2 hours sometime. People and a lot of times when it's over, it's like the net control guy is going, look, I have to go. If you guys want to stay and keep talking, you can, but I've got to take the repeater out of net mode, and hey, the repeater's still on after I go.
Like Josh after about 11 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm I gotta go, guys. I gotta get out of here.
Right. So it really, and again, sometimes it's not like that. It's not, and it's not like a banger, as Josh was saying.
Yeah,
so,
and they don't have to. They don't have to.
Right. So, and again, some of them too are the technic. So, type questions. They'll talk about like a specific antenna and things like that, and then everybody starts talking about that type of antenna, because again, this is ham radio. We all have an interest in it, or we wouldn't even be checking into the net. So you just have to figure out where is that common interest between all those guys. Sometimes it won't even be common, but you get 4 or 5 of them interested, and just having them talk about something may have somebody that's never even thought about it before become interested in what they're interested in. So
okay, I got one for you guys. Have you guys ever had a Google off?
No.
That sounds like trivia night.
What is a Google off?
So I'll take that as a no. So I've done this with some of my teams before.
Okay.
So you come up with a list of ham radio related topics.
Okay.
Right? And then you just throw the topic out there. And then you ask everybody that's on the net to come back with something about that topic that might be of interest. Okay. And so everybody has to Google whatever the topic is, and you kind of chat. And, if you're the first guy in the list, it's easy, right? Because whatever comes up in Google for the first thing is going to be something you can share. But when you get around to to the 10th guy, he's really having to dig to figure out or to find a new something interesting about your topic. And it's just a way to get people to actually talk.
Okay.
And so, Rob, when you bring all the goats together and you ask them these questions, how do they actually respond?
I get a nay here, I get a nay there. Everywhere a nay nay.
Here a nay, there a nay.
But that's worked really great with engineering teams, and I think hams are engineers. They just sometimes don't realize it.
Yeah.
So in a situation like that, like, what if someone doesn't bring something from Google, but just from experience? How do you handle those?
Hey, that's even better, right? If they know something about the topic, that's awesome, right? I mean, that's really what you want, right? That's really what you're trying to get at, is you're trying to draw experience out of people. You're trying to, at the end of the day, all that matters is that they're interacting.
Sure. Yeah. Does that help, Waffles?
That does help. Thank you, guys. I will take note of all the suggestions and see what I can come up with.
Okay, good. All right, there we go. We're 2 for 2. So who do we have next? Here for the first time and like to say hi or ask a question. Come now. Now you know how we do this. Okay, well then we have answered all of our newcomer questions. So let's open it up to every question anywhere, YouTube included. Go nuts. Anybody have a question or comment that they'd like to add? Could have been about the last live stream or just anything that's keeping them off the air or they need help with, or I don't know, just from fun stuff that we might not have known about. What's the news in ham radio? Go for it.
All right,
I got a question.
Go ahead, question. You said, I have a question. Somebody said, I have a question. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Me and I worked out the BTT thing. So here's something that I've been working on with my Faraday antennas is I'm trying to figure out the velocity factor of the Faraday tape.
Okay.
And the problem that I'm having is that I'm starting to figure out that it's probably around 0.5 something. Now, if I have the J-poles that I currently send out are just slightly bigger than normal, does that mean that these J-poles I'm making are full wave or quarter wave, or like what wave are they? At a velocity factor of 0.5, that would mean that I think since my J-poles are pretty much standard size, that they're full wave. What's your thoughts on that?
There's this Canadian antenna maker that does a lot of stuff with Faraday tape. You might reach out to him. I can't remember his call sign though.
That's where I would start.
I am that guy.
And then the next thing I would do is ask Adam, because he's our resident guru.
Well, hold on. Before we get down to the asking people questions, you said that you've tried figuring out the velocity factor, but you can't. Well, what is the problem?
Well, the thing is I am the ham radio rookie, so I don't know what I don't know. And like measuring out velocity factor, if you Google it or you ask ChatGPT, there's like 1,500 different ways to do it.
Okay.
And none of them, like, there's always like 5 different ways to do it. I'd like to know what is the de facto standard to measure the velocity factor. And then once I have that, then how does that work out as far as like antenna lengths go?
So that is a question I will ask Adam. Adam, are you there? Can you chime in on how you would test velocity factor on like a radiating element like that? Or Steve?
I'm not entirely certain. I think where some of the funkiness of Faraday cloth comes in is that it's not actually DC conductive so much.
Okay.
It's got a lot of from what I understand, and I've not experimented with it much, and I don't know what kind of DC resistance measurements you get end to end on a given length. But from what I understand, it's highly capacitive, and a lot of the strands in it are capacitively coupled to each other, and I think that's what makes your system, your circuit that you're building, act kind of funky.
That sound about right? Or like, well, I guess let's ask, what are you doing right now?
Right. So it's not just inductive, or it's not just capacitive. It's like an inductive capacitive network. It's really kind of interesting as far as that goes. And it's one of these puzzles that's just driving me crazy, and I want to know what's making it work. But the problem is I don't necessarily have the skill set to do it. Like, I'm an aeronautical engineer. I'm not a, electronics engineer or anything like that. And the DC is surprisingly a lot less than what you would think. So anyway, it's one of these deep dives down a rabbit hole I need to do. And I was thinking, if I can just establish the velocity factor, then I would at least have something to work with.
Well, hold on before comment.
I have a comment as
Hold
well.
on. What are you doing to test it is what I asked.
Right. So what I ended up doing is you'd have the online J-pole calculators, right?
Okay.
What I started doing was I did a backwards calculation based on what works. Like, I obviously got an antenna that worked, and it's slightly longer than what you would normally have.
Okay.
And so that basically told me that either A, I'm running a velocity factor that's over parity, which, 1 point something, or I'm running a velocity factor that's at about 0.5 something. And that's where that's how I've kind of roughed out the idea of that. The velocity factor, I'm going to default to 0.5, knowing that the chances of this being a metamaterial is almost zero, but like, it would be awesome if it is, but I don't think it is.
Okay. So it's going to be a little bit longer. I think everybody kind of expects that, right?
Yeah, but at the same time,
to get to a half wave is probably pretty far off.
Yeah. So, but you got to keep in mind that, like, if you're running like twin lead or something like that, you're assuming a velocity factor of like 0.8, 0.9, and yeah, it's I don't know. It's this weird conundrum that seems to have problems within problems. Maybe I need to focus my attention in true engineering form. I need to write down what I need to know and then start chipping away at it, maybe.
Well, I don't know that we have the quick answer for you on this one. You might actually want to reach out to Steve and ask him that question, because it sounds like, we probably don't have the test for what you might want to try, because you are kind of in an area of materials where a lot of people don't tread. You know what I mean? Like, you are using a fabric, a conductive fabric, which is, there's not a lot of people doing that. But the comment that was made earlier was about Ham Jazz. Have you ever talked to Ham Jazz? He's also Canadian.
Yeah, no, I've chatted with Simon a couple of times, and he generally doesn't work with Faraday fabrics, though. He likes to work with the foil tapes, and that's just a whole different ball game. Like, if you're playing with the foil tapes, it's actually pretty cut and dry on what's happening.
I can see that.
Like, yeah, the Faraday cloth doesn't play like anything else. Like, you have J-poles seem to work out to be about the same length, even though I think that they might be either half or quarter wave and not, or sorry, full wave or quarter wave, but not half wave.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do something like a slot antenna, all the calculations work out bang on. Then if you start playing with something like a mag loop antenna, again, the calculations seem to work out fine. But when you start playing with other different styles of antennas, then things start going south again. So it's one of those, like, what's happening and why is it going that way? Like, I'm lucky that I can iterate constantly and just keep figuring stuff out. But I'm tired of throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'd like to have some foundational math to go behind some of my designs before I, start building.
Okay. Yeah, I go ahead, comment.
There is a calculation for a velocity factor. It's an electrical format, so I don't know what that is. But it doesn't matter what the antenna is made of. The antenna remains. If you're making a J-pole, it remains a quarter wave over a half wave, regardless of what measurements you're getting.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is, the other thing that you've got to take into account is the thickness of the conductor. Because Faraday tape is broad, not wide, your conductor width, the quarter wave section that is the small bit of the J, right, is effectively a parallel tuned circuit. And if your conductor is wider than the one that the calculator gives you, you're going to get a different result.
Yeah.
So that distance is why you're getting funny results if you try moving it apart or getting it closer. Because they've made it for 300 ohm and 600 ohm feeder, the 450 ohm, sorry, but you're not using that. So you've got different spacing compared to the norm, and that's why you may be getting odd results.
Yeah, possibly. Definitely have to look into that. The one thing I have found is that when you start looking at some of the calculators out there, is that you can basically assume that the width of the tape is the equivalent circumference of, like, say, a copper pipe. Because, the skin effect. And again, skin effect is another thing that comes into account here. There's so much skin effect area, but like the depth isn't necessarily as deep as it needs to be. So again, it becomes all this weird stuff. But I really, I'm kind of monopolizing the chat, and I don't want to be that guy. So I'll let somebody else dive in. I just wanted to see what other people had to say here.
Yeah, let me jump in really quick. There's a comment that said, "How do I join the Discord?" Anybody? There's a link in the video description to join the Discord, and then once you're in,
Gosh, your audio took a dive again.
Oh, okay, hold on. Smart SDR is messing with me.
God.
Okay, hold on.
Can I make it?
Nope.
Now you're better.
Let me finish. Let me finish what I'm in the middle of doing before we interrupt me. If you want to join the Discord, the link is in the video description, and then go to hashtag live-stream, and then underneath that is hashtag live-stream/afterchat. Make sure you set a mic and a speaker so you can hear us, and set a PTT button if you want to talk, okay? There you go. Okay, James, go ahead.
I was just going to suggest that you compare it to a tape measure Yagi driven element set.
Bad idea, because again, it's a fabric. It's not a piece of metal. Like Ham Jazz uses tape. That's like an unbroken piece of metallic, tape, versus a fabric which can flex and move, and there's all kinds of weird.
True, but if you look on one of my videos, I've done a copper foil Yagi with copper foil tape, and I've also made the exact same measurements out of Faraday fabric, and they work exactly the same. The only difference I found is that the ohmic hit at 50 ohms. I was getting 1-to-1 almost guaranteed, where the copper foil one was like 1.1 or 1.2. So this is one of those cases where Yagis perform amazingly well with the Faraday tape, but not necessarily, like, again, some antennas play well, some do not.
I don't know how to respond to that, because you said you were having difficulties. So if you can tune tape, then why can't you tune the cloth? I guess I don't.
Because when you start looking at some of the unique antennas, well, not necessarily unique, but I find that the J-pole doesn't play the same mathematical game as it would play with, like, say, the Moxon.
Just a J-pole, right? Because you're talking. Okay, I understand what you're saying. You're talking about the differences between a J-pole versus a tape measure Yagi, which is fundamentally a dipole when you get down to it. I see
exactly.
I see.
Yeah, and then you've got, take a look at the measurements on the Moxon I just sent you, and tell me what you think about it when you get to play with it.
I mean, a Moxon's probably pretty straightforward then, right? That's an easier one than the J-pole.
It is, but again, the measurements end up being, you have to tweak them enough that they don't quite make sense with the regular calculators. So the spacings and everything I have aren't playing the same rules.
Interesting.
For the Moxon, have you measured front to back ratio or gain at all in any way? Have you tried that with like a just a spectrum analyzer and a kind of improvised setup?
I haven't done any of that. I've made it, and all I know is that the audio I get out of that is so very clear. Like when you're listening in, it's like there is no background noise on that antenna. I just love it that way. But again, that's the extent of it. I build it, I get excited, I know it works, then I try to produce a product over it, and then I try to explain it later, which is probably the dumbest way to go about doing things, but it's working for me.
So Steve is in the chat, and do you have an analyzer that will do a velocity factor test?
I've got like the VNAs. I've got like a Signal Stick X Pro.
Signal Stick X Pro will do it. So the velocity factor is kind of the same thing that you would do with like testing a coax line to make sure that it's straight. It doesn't have a problem. So you could compare like two antennas. I'm not sure where Steve's going with this. So yes, you could do a velocity factor test by time travel, right? Literally pulse down and back on the antenna. I don't know about how that would play. Oh, by the way, Steve is not the biggest fan of a J-pole, first of all. Let me just say that, but not a big fan. So he's saying velocity factor VF of a transmission line is the ratio. Yeah, we know that about the transmission line. So so Steve, if you're catching up, yeah. So Steve, if you're watching this right now, so he makes J-pole antennas that use a conductive fabric, which is different from like a foil or a wire or something like that. And he's having a hard time testing or determining what the velocity factor is of the fabric that he's making the antennas out of, because that becomes vitally important to the dimensions of the J-pole. He's trying to figure that out.
And let's also remember too, like any wire, but I think more so with this stuff, is the frequency is going to change things, because if you have a capacitive inductive network of fabric or lines all touching each other, then the frequency is going to mess everything up. So as the frequency changes, maybe that is part of my problem here, is that I'm working in different frequencies, because my HF antennas, like the random stick, that thing is just a gem compared to everything else, and it's easy to figure out.
Right.
But it's HF, not VHF or UHF.
Sure. We'll wait for Steve to reply, but I don't know about this one. This one's kind of tough. This is a deep engineering problem that you have on your hands. So we might have to break with this for a little while.
Yeah, no. I understand that. It's deep enough that I've been chatting with the local university, and one of the profs I was talking to goes, "Do you want to write a dissertation on this?" And I'm like, no.
Do you want to get a doctorate in Faraday cloth? We'll take you on, bud.
I'm kind of old for that. I'm not sure if I'm up to it.
I like it. Well, I appreciate you, and I like the things you do make. So continue doing that, and I'm excited for the new. What's the new antenna? It's not a Delta Loop. It's the Moxon. That's it.
Yeah, it's a Moxon. I'm calling it a Foxon since it's Faraday tape, and then the fox hunting kind of double entendre fun stuff, playing with the words.
In the way you have it configured, is that bidirectional then?
How do you mean bidirectional? Remember, I know enough to be dangerous, but really, I'm 2 years young in the hobby, right? So
yeah. So when a Yagi has like an elements, the back elements are the reflector. They're longer than the driven element and longer than the directors. So they focus the RF forward. And so if you had a signal coming from behind a Yagi, it's going to be attenuated versus the signal that would be in front of the Yagi. A Moxon, however, is just like basically a loop, if you will. So you're going to be bidirectional.
No, I could be wrong. The Moxon's a lot like a Yagi, where you've got two elements, which are the powered elements, and you've got a reflector.
Oh, then it's the same concept. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have two elements in that.
That's right.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, he was holding it up the other day the wrong way around.
Hey, Ben, have you reached out to the manufacturer of the Faraday tape and see if they had an idea of what the velocity factor was?
I haven't. Part of it is, of course, I'm bringing everything in from China, but at the same time, I'm starting to work with some manufacturers I know in New York that produce possibly a better quality material, and that would definitely be a question to ask them. And this is one of those head slappers where it's like, oh my God, why is it got to be that simple? Because you're probably right.
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
Back before we had all these simulations and whatnot, those equations were made by a bunch of guys making a bunch of antennas and optimizing them, doing it the hard way. And I kind of feel that might be what you need to do here. I don't know that getting the velocity factor is going to get you where you need to go because there's so many other variables. Somebody mentioned, the aspect ratio of the tape is so much different than a wire or a tube. That might get you. I would just get some and test them and see how they go and then just send it.
That's basically what I have been doing. The thing is that the curiosity in me is starting to overwhelm me, and I want to know the numbers behind it. And
sure,
I guess I really should probably just sit down with my antennas and start deriving some stuff in reverse.
Do you have something called a time domain reflectometer is what Steve's talking about. You send the pulse down, you let it bounce back, you get the time very accurately, you measure the length of the antenna, and wham bam, you got your velocity. Divide that by the speed of light and you got the factor.
Yeah. That's something where maybe I need to get a hold of, like, go back to the university and go, okay, maybe I'll entertain the whole write something down thing, but you gotta help me measure this stuff out first.
Seems like a fair trade.
You can army grad students to just do whatever you point at.
Yeah, fair enough. But like any university and stuff, I've played the game enough that you come in asking for stuff like that, and they'll be like, "Okay, so how much money are you donating to our university?"
Exactly.
And right now, I don't have that money.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Oh, we have not answered anything other than give you more things to go think about. So I guess sally forth.
You gave me some stuff to chew on, and that's better than where I was. I felt like I was waffling, so I really appreciate that. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, I apologize we couldn't have more for you. Where is everybody right now on the bands? By the way, I killed my FT8. It's fully dead. I have to restart the computer for it to work again. So I am not making any more FT8 contacts tonight. But the contest is very well and alive. If you are not, by the way, if you're a new ham on HF, please go be engaged in this contest. Figure out how to get on it and do it. It's the worldwide. What is the? Oh boy, I had the hold on.
Worldwide CQ worked all prefix SSB contest.
Yeah, so it's this guy. So it is the one next to it. Nope. Nope. Where did it go? There it is. We'll pull it up right now. CQ WPX. It's not a hard contest to be on. It is every band but the work bands, and there are a myriad of other ways for you to operate. I'm going to copy the link and drop it in the chat. You should definitely get in on this contest. This is like one of the best contests for newer hams because it's very simple. It's very easy to be an activator on that. So there you go. All right. Okay.
Counterpoint?
Counterpoint on the contest? Go ahead.
So, if you're a new ham and you haven't experienced a contest before, at least listen. Because if you think you like contesting, you may learn that you don't. And if you think you don't like it, you may learn that you do.
I got to say, when I say go do something, I assume they're going to listen. So come on now, bud. Come on. I assume they're going to listen. They should be listening to the radio.
Well, but more deeply, what I meant was somebody who might dismiss your suggestion and say, "I don't feel like I want to do contests," should still listen anyway and decide if in the real world that they really do or don't.
Okay. All right, there you go.
Josh, do you sleep with your gain turned up so you can hear the FT8?
Generally, I try and sleep with nothing on other than a fan occasionally. That's my goal. With no noise. I want
Southern
no
California love.
Question.
Go ahead, question.
Hi, Josh and gang. I was wondering, end-fed wire antenna, do you put the feed point up or the other end up?
Yes. The answer is yes. Do whatever you can to put it up. I've heard arguments on both sides. I think Adam has an argument that he'll make one side or the other. If you ask Chameleon, they'll say...
let's fight.
Yeah. Chameleon will tell you feed point should be at the top. Do I care? No, because I've done it always, and I've had great experiences in any capacity. So I don't know who wants to die on this. Who wants to die on this
I'll
hill?
take a stab.
All right. Frank wants to be first to bat. Here we go.
So, not the last time you had Ward Silver on, but the time before that, I asked a very poignant question to this question here.
Okay.
I had my feed point up high, and I asked, should it be up high or should it be down low? And he, without a doubt, said down low. So
Who said
Ward
that?
Silver
Ward?
says,
yeah. All right.
So if Ward Silver says it needs to be down low, take it down low. There you go. There's the hill I'm dying on.
Dave Kassler says put it down within 5 foot of the ground as well. So Ward and Dave.
Yeah, I've done it both ways, and both antennas have worked just fine. So, are we magazine racing? Remember my term that I like so much, magazine racing? We're magazine.
No, I just used it that way, and I like it with the feed point down low.
Okay.
I think it's a whole lot easier to manage with it down low. I can tell you that.
Yeah. When it's down
totally.
low,
Depends.
the counterpoise will actually.
Oh, here we go.
Here
we go. Adam's got a. It depends.
In general, my thought would be put it where it's most convenient and run it that way. But if it's
we've done it both ways.
Yeah, if it's an end-fed half-wave, it doesn't matter. If it's an end-fed random wire, it might make a little bit of difference.
Sure.
But in general, put it where it's most convenient.
What's the science by putting it up high versus putting it down low?
Mm-hmm. How does the counterpoise work when it's up high?
Well, so if you look right, that's the challenge for particularly for the random wire. But for the end-fed half-wave, you're just end feeding a dipole, so it's a symmetric antenna end to end for the most part. So it doesn't really matter which end is high or low. And you know the other debate to get into is inverted V versus sloper. That's a fun one too. And I think somebody put my thought on that in the chat earlier. The whatever you can do to get the best average height above ground is going to make the biggest difference for you.
Well, what about Yanks like me that run it flat horizontal, high on both ends?
Perfect.
I got 280-meter end-fed half waves horizontal about 30 feet up in the air at the shack, and they work just fine.
Yep.
And I've done it with the feed point at the ground, and I've done it with the feed point up in the air, and I've done them in inverted Vs. It doesn't matter. Just put the antenna.
And the music goes round and
Just
round.
get it up.
Mine's high up.
That's really all that matters.
People on the sidewalk.
The only thing I would say for putting the feed point lower, if you're running it as a sloper, you're going to use less coax, and it's going to be easier to put up.
And if you're running it as an inverted V through a tree, how do you keep the tree from eventually rubbing the wire through and breaking?
You hang the wire off of the tree. You don't run it into the tree.
An inverted V, it's very difficult to do that.
I take it down in 30 minutes once I've gotten 30 or 40 contacts in the log and move on to the next summit.
Exactly.
I'm permanently installing and pushing 1,000 watts. So,
Don, you're thinking too hard.
Don't have an end-fed halfway because they're junk.
No, I'm not running.
Bollocks.
Yeah, I'm not running an in-fed half-wave. I'm running a random wire.
Doesn't matter. It's still an end-fed.
Right. Yeah, but my point is that it's not what Mike is thinking. And it does.
I bet he thinks it's junk too.
Well, any antenna that has a transformer there, it's 2 turns and then 48 or whatever it is a 48 to 1. Is just a overheating thing going to happen?
I run
He's the wrong
1,000
size
watts.
for it.
Mine never overheats.
All right.
Well, you must have a good one, Don.
I do.
I've sent you the thing 3 or 4 times now.
What thing?
What are you doing?
The
My son
comment from the guy who championed it by the only way you can make it do 1,500 watts is to have free. Thanks, Josh. That looks terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Free loops. I can't think what the damn thing's called. My brain's. Never mind. I can't think what it's called. Free toroids and a fan.
No,
if you've got to put a cooling fan on your antenna, that's saying a lot to me. Anyway. Also, going by how mains transformers are wound, you would never want that higher transformation.
Make it water cool.
Yeah, no, mine, the Ballon Designs makes them up to 5K, and I have not ever overheated one of those. Now, I don't run FT8 at 1,000 watts. It's stupid to run 1,000 watts on FT8. Doesn't mean you can't.
Is it though?
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't needed it. I haven't needed it. It's not that it's illegal or that you can't do it. It's just I've never seen the need. It's kind of like having an HT. I've never seen the need.
And Josh, all I gotta say is your scroller right now. I'm only reading that in Austin Powers' voice.
Oh, behave. That's the point. Yeah. That's exactly.
I love how this question has gone so far off the rails.
Just completely gone. Completely gone.
Mike, were there rails to begin with as soon as the question was asked?
There was, because it was an honest, legitimate question the guy wanted an answer to.
But I don't know that we have
Waffle
one.
needs to use this
No,
on his
it doesn't
next net.
matter. Let's move on.
Now, I mean, I can go to the park and test like feed point high, feed point low, but the problem is that like even if I tested it like to the moment and switched it, let's say I run like Whisper for 20 minutes on both sides, you can never
eliminate the variables.
Exactly, Mike. Exactly. So, and that's the point, is that like they're so close that it doesn't even really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. If they perform pretty much the same or kind of close, then it's fine.
So Kerbo over on YouTube has it right. The answer is it depends. There we go. Problem solved.
Does it make contact? That's what matters.
I'm always off the rails.
Can I add just one more question?
Yes, go ahead.
If you would have to go between a 9-to-1 random wire or a doublet, what would you choose?
Oh, those are fighting words.
Oh yeah. Now you ask. Yeah, that's I would go doublet. If you ask me, I'd go doublet.
Now doublet, between doublet and Skyloop,
What
that
size
one's a
doublet,
little harder.
though?
Well,
What
he
size
didn't say
what size
Skyloop. He didn't say
what?
Skyloop.
I mean,
I've got one with an 150-foot elements on either side.
Well, we're not talking about Skyloop. I would go doublet.
No, it's not a Skyloop. That's a doublet.
I would go doublet. Well, okay. So who wants to answer the question? Go ahead. Who wants to add to that?
No, it should be a doublet.
Yeah, get your doublet, get your window line, and go to it.
Are we talking about NFEDs?
No, we're talking about doublets now.
Okay, we've moved on.
Yes, we have.
Now
we're glad you're here, Steve.
Okay, so for a random wire, I'm not a big fan of random wires. I've never been a big fan. I had a bad experience. One time with
where did the antenna touch you, Josh?
It touched me right on the hand, exactly when I was doing a Parks on the Air activation. So I'm not a big fan of random wires. I do like doublets though, but I admit and agree that they both require tuners. I would rather have a doublet though in most cases. Personal opinion.
Josh, to comment on that, because the first time I heard you say I'm not a fan of 9-to-1s was at Hamcation in 2019.
Yeah. So I was doing
and do you know
summits on the air
whose
before
booth
that.
we were at there?
Yeah,
when you
it
said
was
that?
George. It was George's
And do you know
booth.
who's going to be at Dayton this year?
I've already I was already yesterday afternoon, Mike. I was hanging out with George on a Zoom working on my station controller. I was already talking to George.
Well, I'm happy for you that you were.
And
he knows my feelings about the random wire.
No, I was just more excited that Pac-10 is going to be at Hamcation.
Oh, they've got something they've got,
Dayton.
and everybody watching, they have something they're introducing that's going to be super, super cool for anyone that runs a club, a ham radio club, particularly if you have a flex radio or remotable radio. They have a super cool solution. I'm very excited to see more about it at the Hamfest.
Are you going to try to score a ZBitX?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I am. Yes.
Bro, I have had that web page as a
Mike, they're going to have them at the
bookmark.
show. They're going to have them at the they're going to have them at 4 Days in May.
Well, some guy like it would have been 4 days ago posted a video. I think he's one of the developers. It sounded like he was from India.
Yes.
Farhan? Yeah, that's the
Well,
developer.
no, I mean,
Could be, sure.
Yeah.
But I've had that specific ZBitX page bookmarked on my browser, and I keep checking back periodically, and they're still not available. But if they're going to be at Hamvention,
they are.
I want one.
Yeah,
as long as I have to build it or code it.
We're all going to line up.
Yeah, I'm betting that's where they first show up.
Where are you going?
They've already started shipping. There's a couple people that have received theirs already here in the States.
Yeah, but their website still says we're not taking any more orders for February or something to the effect, or we'll open it back up in February.
So for everybody doesn't know what Mike's talking about. Let me pull this up. Also, my son is telling everybody that he has to leave at 8. Why do you have to leave at 8? Because you want to play games. You're going to go play Fortnite.
Look at him eyes.
He's going on Googly.
You know how to cross your eyes? I didn't know that. Oh, man. You're full of tricks. You're like a regular rabbit out here. So ZBitX is a all-in-one. So, by the way, everybody looking at this is like bigger than a pack of cards, but it's QRP sized. Those are two 18650s on the side of that radio. It's running I think a Raspberry Pi Mini, Micro, something like that.
I thought he said something about a microcontroller, but
no.
No, there's a microcontroller.
It's a Pi Zero.
It's a Pi Zero. That's it.
Yeah,
Pi Zero.
Yeah.
He's
got both in there.
They're selling it for $178. That is insanely cheap for something like this.
That's true SDX money.
That's really cheap.
Yeah. And it does FT8 inside of it, all of the things that the other.
Can we stop talking about this until we actually have one?
Get one, Mike.
We're producing more of a demand for it right now.
I will email. I'll email Ashar Farhan after this, and I will say, hey, hang on to 2 for me and my good buddy Mike, K8MRD.
Get spare transistors.
Yeah, get spare transistors.
Dude, do you know how many of these radios that I have like played with that I have had to fix the finals on? Like I have had to fix some finals on these radios. And I think I know what the problem is that Ashar assumes that everyone is going to dial the power down to nothing to test it versus just go. And second problem, his UI lets you put way too much power into the PA, which it shouldn't do. I think I burnt one up just alone because I saw 100% on single sideband to be, yes, I want 100% power output on single sideband. And they were like, no, you should have been more like 40. And it's like, well, wait, why? Why are we playing this game? Like, it should just
these ones go to
scale
11.
Scale it to be appropriate, and then we go. It's like, oh no, that's not how. But this was an early development version of the radio, so I'm not like saying that's what they base everything off of. What I'm saying is that like you got to scale this for the operator. Operator's going to assume 0 to 100, and then they're going to use that space if you give it to them. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and then Apache Labs has a new radio too, a new old radio.
New old radio, yes.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to take a moment here. The after chat title was you've completely ruined the whole scene here. Edison. You've completely ruined the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, I need to go. Bye.
You got to go because it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye, Edison.
I might come back.
These are my podcasts. Those are my podcasts.
So you going
headphones.
to check into the net?
No, he's gonna get on the YL net right now, Mike. So check him out on the YL net. He's gonna be out there right now in a couple of minutes on 40 meters, so you can check him out there. No, so the topic of today's show, I actually got to run to the restroom. But what is your worst antenna? That is the conversation. Not an antenna that was just broken, but an antenna that was like, this is not working the way the ads told me it should work. Right? Like, so you went in and you're like, I'm going to buy this thing. Maybe it was a YouTuber who sold you on this antenna. And you're like, I bought this thing and I just can't get it to work. Can't get it to work right. That's the whole 3-card Monty on the discussion here. And so I'll show you mine. This is the worst antenna I've ever had to deal with. It's also a two-way radio antenna. It's their loop. So this is the Sailor Moon wand antenna. This thing was the worst antenna I've ever reviewed. It was bad no matter how coming or going. It was bad. And then also, like, just imagine where's I need a radio. There we go. BNC. Can you imagine just walking around with this? Could you imagine?
I'm just talking glass on it and use it as a monocle.
Just talking to my boys on the repeater. That's the antenna I'm rocking right now. Hardest no on an antenna that I've had was the 2-wave Sailor Moon wand antenna.
Is that 2 meters?
It is. Yeah, it's a 2-meter antenna.
So your worst, does it have to transmit?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess it depends.
Because I've had some really bad receive-only antennas that were supposed to be fantastic, and they were absolutely horrible.
Somebody, we already heard it in the chat. I got an Isotron. I eventually recycled it. Okay, there it is. That is a not good antenna. That is a not good antenna.
Didn't Dave review one?
Yeah, he did, and he was
100
fairly
Watts the Wire
optimistic
did
on it.
a lot of reviews of those things.
Some folks actually had a good deal on the 100 watts in a wire. They had a 20 and a 40, and they reviewed them. Several of the folks did, and they did fine.
Yeah, I've heard good and bad, and from people that have actually tested them, no,
it's bad.
It seems goofy.
So my problem is that
full stop.
When I go to eHams, I look at a lot of people reviewing it, and I wonder, like, where on the ham threshold are they? And I'm not trying to pretend like it's like, oh, I'm a high echelon ham. I'm not, but I will definitely, like, do A/B comparisons. I will take some kind of a data model to say, like, this is better than this, or it's not better than that, right? And I don't think most hams do that. I think most hams will get on the air and they'll be like, I made a contact, so it must be good. I think that's where a lot of people line up, and that's, I don't think that's rigorous enough for ham radio, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 100 Watts the Wire did a whole review, like a 5-week review with 6 different people and against their own shack antennas. They did a really, really good job of it.
Yes, it is worth watching Cudnick and that, or listening to it. Sorry, it's on podcasts.
All right. So I wanna take. I have to go to the restroom actually really bad. So I'm gonna take a break. I will ask someone to Frank. You wanna jump in? What's your worst antenna? Can you run with it for a little while? And actually, can you
I don't know.
pull some other people in?
I don't know how long I can run with it for my personal antenna,
But
I
pull
can.
some other people in.
Yeah,
Throw it
I
over to
can do
Tim
that.
after that.
All right. I appreciate that. Go ahead. Take it, Frank.
Okay, so my worst antenna, I'm actually using it right now. That's the sad point to this. It's an infed half wave. It was my first HF antenna, and absolutely horrible. Mike knows exactly which one I'm talking about too, because we've discussed it before. But infed half wave, absolutely hate it, and I still use it anyway. But that's my worst antenna, quite honestly. Anyone else?
The worst one I ever used that actually transmits, because there's two receive-only antennas that I was getting for shortwave listening that absolutely suck. But anyway, is that MCOM2 from Chameleon. That sucker, I put it up every single way that they said you were supposed to do it, and it was absolutely horrible.
But it's Chameleon, so it's supposed to be great.
I don't know. I mean, some of theirs are. It fits a niche, and it's not really meant to be like fantastic, so to speak.
Yeah, I think most of them are meant for soda and POTA and that sort of stuff. Easy take up, put down.
Yeah, since I've been doing the videos on the Delta loops, the Chameleon Delta loop is just. I've heard some bad things about it. I don't know. I've never used one, but I don't get that little ballon thing at the end of one of the sticks. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't either. How about anyone else?
It's just a 4-to-1. That's why I was asking you on your video.
No, but the 4-to-1 needs to
No, it's not a 4-to-1. It's not a 4-to-1.
It's not.
It's a 5-to-1.
Yeah, and it doesn't connect to the other element.
We don't need to. Because it's not really no, hang on, Don, hang on. It's not a delta loop. It's how you make their antenna look like a delta loop. But it isn't a delta loop. It's an end
fair enough.
wrapped in a circle.
And it's easy enough to make a delta loop. But anyway, somebody else. Tim, your turn.
The one that doesn't work is the one I don't like.
And which one is that, or do you want to not name names?
Well, I honestly haven't had any real bad experiences. I mean, they work. I think sometimes we have a tendency, I think Josh mentioned it, where people tend to, their testing is very subjective and not objective. So they're not really comparing it. It's more like, well, I got a 5.9 from here and a 3.3 from there. So that's the antenna stinks. I mean, I think that's what we run into a lot of times though, when people judge antennas.
Hey, Don, my loop on the ground is my least favorite. I never could get it to work the way I thought it should, and it didn't receive anything, seemed like. And that was on a 7600.
Yeah, again, well, if you've seen the videos I've done on them, for me, they've worked and worked well. But again, you see, that could have been the ground that I'm on versus the ground you're on. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Eric in the chat has a good point. If you trust signal reports from people that don't know how to give signal reports, you're going to have a bad time.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a really good point. 5.9. Did we already hear from Mike? What's your worst antenna, Mike?
Not yet.
So I
know what your worst antenna is. I know what it is.
Slightly influential when it comes to antennas.
Yeah.
Or meaning me being influenced. So Ryan from Armalock.
I knew it.
You know because I commented on your video.
I knew it.
He had
I watched
this.
your
I just
video
posted
too.
it in the chat.
Yeah.
I've never done a video on this, but it was in a video, and I said this antenna's garbage. So on Ryan's, this is the Smiley Antennas 2-meter 5 5/8 slim duck or something like that.
It's this guy.
And on Ryan's 705 at Hamcation a mere month and a half ago.
Is it this guy?
I literally, huh?
Is it the one I have? The little guy?
No, I think yours is different.
Okay.
I literally on FM on 2 meters keyed up at the bottom of the band, and while it was keyed up, I turned the VFO all the way to the top of the band, and this antenna is freaking flat. His antenna. So I immediately went online and purchased 2 of them. They're only like $25, not a big deal. So I'm like, I'm out $50. I'm like, I love the way this antenna feels. I love the way it looks. I loved from Ryan's antenna, the SWR. And then I get my 2 because I'm like, I want one for my 818 go bag and I want one for my 705 go bag. I put them on both radios. Both radios hate them. I've put them on my Rig Expert Stick Pro with and without the scooter stick or a counterpoise. Sorry, I had to throw a scooter stick in there. Hates it. I put it on a Nano VNA. Hates it. The SW, it's tuned below. It's like 139 or something is where the dip is. I've also tested just receive on an HT, just listening to the NOAA weather. And I made sure to keep the HT in the exact same spot, just on the table with a BNC adapter. And when I had, I compared the receive of this Smiley antenna to a Signal Stuff signal stick. The Signal Stuff signal stick received 3 S units higher than the Smiley antenna. And this is, I've tested both of these antennas with all of these tests. And I'm so disappointed because I want more than anything in the world to use these antennas for my 818 and my 705.
I will say that testing HT antennas, we've talked about this so many times on the after chat. I literally have my Vectron, like the Chromium thing.
But
this thing literally
I put my
exists.
signal stick on the radios and on the analyzer with and without a 19-inch counterpoise. In every single test, the signal stick was better. I understand it's difficult to test HT antennas.
They're incredibly difficult because
I understand.
Yeah.
But when you can repeat results, you still have something to measure. And every time, no matter what the test was, the Smiley antenna performed way less than the signal stick. When I key up, my 818 legit just says high SWR and the meter is pegged. Same thing on the 705. And again, I've put counterpoises on both of these, on the analyzer, on the radios. Like, I've tried it every way possible, and they're just bad antennas. So
I'm gonna test.
But go ahead.
No, sorry, Mike. Go ahead, finish your thought because I'm gonna try and do something live here. This is a bad idea, but go ahead, Mike. Finish your thought.
No, go ahead. I'm done ranting.
All right, I'm gonna try and hit Fred, who's the local beacon on Simplex. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. Fred, are you on 2 meter Simplex right now? Can you copy me? Are you copying? Can you hear me? Fred, Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. If you can't hit the beacon out here, Fred, then it's not a good antenna from my point of view. Guy's always on the air. Little last or anyone that can copy me on 2 meter Simplex here in Cerritos. I'm in Cerritos. Anyone copying me right now, transmitting on this 2 meter antenna, looking for a valid signal response or a signal report. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. I mean, I'm in the shack, so yeah, I don't expect anybody to come back because it's not a good antenna. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Mike. Yeah. Well, I mean that's what we all want, right? We all want a tiny little antenna that we can put on our HT, and then it just performs like all the other antennas, and it just works great.
Well, this isn't that tiny though. Like, it's shorter than a quarter wave. There's definitely some loading going on at the base. It's thicker. Like I wouldn't want this on an HT. It's too heavy.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, for me, but I mean, you're the guy that's putting half-wave telescopic whips on their HT, so kind of talking the wrong guy there. But
I love a half-wave telescopic whip. I love it.
But again, like this is just because I got an 818 in a go bag with an Armalock, and I got my 705 in the Icon backpack, and it would just be cool to have. It's purely aesthetic because it's black, and it's tactical. That's the only. I have no good reason for wanting to use this antenna as much as I do, other than it looks cool.
Question.
Is that a question? Who is that? What was that?
Yeah, I got a question. I got just to build a wire dipole. What is the not the SWR, but the dB gain on wire dipole?
Nothing. So a wire dipole is usually used as the standard gain on any antenna. That's what they compare other antennas to. There's like no gain on a dipole, like a monoband. Are you talking about a monoband dipole?
I'm talking about for like a 2-meter radio.
Well, are we talking about a vertical dipole or horizontal?
I'm going to put it in the SO239, hook it up, and hang it from my tower and run 2 lines out.
Vertical, though. Vertical. The elements will run vertically?
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't get any gain out of that antenna. Also, gain with one element is always like really... I need an adult to explain how antenna manufacturers that make a monoband antenna claim a bunch of gain. I don't think I fully understand what they're doing there, because gain usually implies focusing RF using directors or reflectors to make it go a certain direction. So when they talk about gain on a vertical, it's not really a true gain in the sense that you might think about, like focusing RF in a certain way. I think it's more about like RF saturation for
it's the gain of it's the average gain of the RMS fields.
Steve's here. Good.
So it's the average gain of the RMS fields, and the key thing is you have to be careful of whether it's over ground or over free space. So for instance,
break it down for me. So what does that mean? Like if I were to go to I'm in the shack and I make a quarter wave ground plane antenna using wire that's, firm. So it's standing proud, and I have an appropriate counterpoise underneath it. So to me, or I don't know, what is the gain of that antenna versus the companies that claim gain on
so what you would do is there's calculated gain and then there's realized gain. So the calculated gain would be, for instance, if you're modeling an antenna, you would take the 4 pi that we call the 4 pi steradian gain of the sphere in free space of that antenna. Since a dipole has a pattern, it's not isotropic, it has a pattern.
Sure.
There is a difference in the average field relative to an antenna without gain, or with a standard pattern. Same thing with the vertical antenna. So it's just comparing the average field, or the average aggregate field strength of the area of that antenna at some distance relative to another. So because there's gain, because there's nulls and maxima and minima along the pattern of that antenna in the far field or the near field, depending on what you're comparing, you would do the same to whatever the antenna that you're comparing it against, whether it's isotropic or dipole. So for instance, a dipole has a gain of about 8.5 dB over ground. So, when you see somebody saying a dipole my dipole's got, when you model an antenna and your dipole has, 8.5 dB, you have to remember to subtract it has 9 point something dB over ground. You have to remember to subtract the 8.5 because it's over ground. It's not in free space. So you can play games with the numbers if they don't qualify how the antenna was measured or modeled.
Well, okay.
So
I heard the science answer. So my problem is that like a vertical antenna, how do you get gain out of a vertical antenna? It's not like in the sense we're thinking like with a Yagi, that implies gain in the forward direction, amplifying your signal for those that are receiving you. So like a vertical can't get like gain in that traditional sense, or like what does that mean?
So it's gain. Remember, gain is always going to be qualified in a relative to a particular direction. So, for instance, the gain of a vertical at 20 degrees elevation is going to be different than that same antenna on frequency at, say, 40 degrees elevation, where there may be a null. So, or where the pattern changes. So you have to be careful when you talk about gain. So as there's the average gain, there's gain in a particular direction, there's gain relative to another antenna. So these are all things you have to qualify when you say an antenna has gain. Relative. That's why DBI, DBD are the standards of what you use, whether it's calculated or realized. That's what you use.
So are you saying
look, Smiley advertises 6 dBd gain on this antenna?
On what antenna?
On that antenna, I was
the one he dropped in
crying
chat
about that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can't speak. This is one of the reasons why I think for many years the ARRL never really published gains of antennas, because of exactly this. Manufacturers can play some pretty serious games by selectively, by just leaving out
games.
Yeah, gain games, exactly. Whether it's DBD or DBI, there are very standard methodologies and there are very standard methodologies and accepted rules for measuring and advertising gain. Whether a manufacturer wants to adhere by that is, that's.
So, Steve, am I unrealistic in expecting what the manufacturer advertised in terms of, never mind the gain, but just the SWR being somewhere even close to 14625 that they say they measure them for?
Yeah. Boy, I'm going to go back to the answer. It depends. It's a handheld, right? So it depends. Yeah, I have to. I gotta fall back on that one. It's, if it was a standard dipole, I could tell you exactly what it would be. It's a standard quarter wave. You'd get roughly, was it 3.2 dB of gain? Roughly.
Well, they say it's a base-loaded antenna, manufactured tough enough for military, and here's the part that I agree with: aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah,
it's a cosplay antenna.
Nowhere in the ham bands is it an acceptable SWR for any radio I've put it on.
Josh, can I try to explain the vertical antenna, omnidirectional vertical antenna gain thing?
I would love that. Go for it.
So essentially, what you're doing when you add gain to a vertical omnidirectional antenna. So what I mean by omnidirectional is in the X and Y plane, you're radiating equally on that plane in all directions. So it's not directional from a 360 degree perspective.
Oh God.
So your radiation pattern, yeah, there you go. You're pulling up some.
I
some
already know where you're going,
there.
I think, and I'm scared for the answer.
All you're really doing is compressing that donut pattern down to a flatter and flatter donut, so it's more of a pancake shape, and it squishes out even further in that direction. You're compressing and focusing that radiated power out toward the horizon rather than up or down into the ground. So you are truly getting omnidirectional gain that way.
And
so let me make sure.
I'm kind of lost on that one. Explain that again, because that doesn't fit most of my professional experience.
Hold on. Let me say this another way, just so I think I got this. I could be wrong. So a dipole. So let's take it. Dipole could be polarized horizontally or vertically, right? And it has a pattern that is expressed in however you tested that antenna. In a vertical antenna sense, if I made like a monopole vertical that I put on my car, for instance, right? And if I compared that to another vertical dipole, I would get more gain because I squished it, or what was the thought there, Adam? Where are you going?
So if you stacked and if you stacked dipoles, right? If you stack and phase elements, then you can compress that vertical pattern into a flatter, broader donut, if that makes sense.
Talking about stacking elements.
Yeah, or a 5/8 wave element, or like an extended double step versus a dipole, for example. You're using 5/8 wave elements, so you get a little over 2 dB gain out of an extended double step versus a dipole.
Okay, so is for multiple elements, that's true. You can using phased elements, you can create directivity, and through algebraic summing, you can create gain in the sense that there's power summing in the far field. Patterns usually determined in the far field. So that's true with multiple elements. But when comparing a single element, it's there's the type of gain that you may be wanting to measure is either going to be a RMS or an RSS of the total field of that antenna relative to another. And if an antenna is, and that's the part of that determines that. Part of what determines that is antenna efficiency and
directivity.
In directivity, yeah, exactly, in directivity. So if you look at a dipole versus a isotropic, there's no nulls on the isotropic. It's an antenna that doesn't exist. There are nulls on a dipole, so that's why there's a difference in gain between the two. The RSS field of that envelope at whatever the theoretical difference distance is, at 4 pi steradians on that sphere, is whatever it is, and that's what you compare. So it's power density, and that's how that's usually calculated.
Yeah, exactly. So to get gain over a dipole, your only real option is a 5/8 wave or an extended double ZEP, which is a 2 5/8 waves, essentially a 5/8 wave dipole with a matching section, or collinear vertical elements. And that's typically, if you legitimately have a vertical omnidirectional antenna that has gain over a dipole, it's typically going to be a stacked collinear.
Hey, Steve.
So basically what you're saying is a cable dipole really is not worthy of working with a 2-meter radio.
Well, again, that now you have polarization issues, so it depends on the orientation. But hold on, Grayman said something. Steve, for Steve.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is if I can translate what Adam was saying is he was inverted, and that's why he's got what he's thinking.
Well, no, I don't know. So let's double check that. So Steve, are you talking about an isotropic
inverted, or
are you talking about an isotropic horizontal dipole, or are you talking about an isotropic vertical?
It doesn't matter. It's the RSS of the field. So, for instance, if you're using free space, then it's free space. It's not over ground. So it doesn't matter where you put it. It's the RSS, or the root sum square, or RMS aggregate of the radiated field on an imaginary sphere that you put around your antenna. You're looking at what the sum total of all that power density is around that sphere. So if you were to take your antenna, put it in the middle of an imaginary clear sphere, the power that's radiated from that antenna is going to splatter itself on the inside of that sphere. What you're looking at is what the power density is, the total power that's hitting that sphere. What does that all sum to? So if you put an antenna, an isotropic antenna will radiate all over that sphere perfectly and equally, everywhere. So when you add that up, that's going to be X. If you take an antenna and put it in the center of that sphere, and it doesn't radiate equally in every axis and every dimension inside of that sphere, you're going to have areas where it's going to be either thinner or less than others. So it's going to sum to something less than that of an isotropic. Without drawing it out, it's kind of hard to verbalize that. But basically, it's just it's an imaginary antenna that you're comparing everything else to. That's why isotropic doesn't exist.
Go ahead, comment.
Right, you got your donut, right?
Well, no,
that's vertical, right? You got your donut, right? That's vertical, right?
It can be, sure.
Now, hang on. If you got your donut, that's vertical, right? For a real dipole. If you put the donut up so it looks like a wheel, that's horizontal. That's how you've got to imagine the RF shape.
Yeah, in free space, the orientation doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, in free space, but as a dipole, again, over ground.
Over ground,
that's how it
very
works.
different. Right, yeah. Ground is very different. Ground,
yeah, that's what the DBD is what I never took much notice of DBI because that's theoretical and dipoles don't exist in theoretical, as you say. It's an impossible antenna. It's if all theory was just right. So I always went with a dipole being the reference.
Yeah, no, DBD does not imply ground. DBD.
No, over ground, not the ground.
Okay, so remember, this is something that you have to remember when you read specs. A specification can have a dipole in free space has a gain of about 2.5 dB relative to an isotropic. If you put it over ground, it's different. So what I'm saying is dipole or isotropic, it does dipole can be either in free space or over ground. You have to be very careful because a dipole over ground has a very different gain than say a dipole in free space. Most antenna manufacturers, if you read a spec, they'll generally give you the modeled gain with the standard gain, which should be in free space, because that makes everything equal to an isotropic, or that makes everything relative to the isotropic equal. So when you go to compare an antenna, at least you have a standard, which is the isotropic antenna. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So you pick one standard or the other is what Steve's trying to say. You pick the standard you wish to go by, and then go by that.
I guess where I'm coming back to is like if someone has a vertical thing on their car or their radio, probably an isotropic is not the thing to base performance off of.
You can't. Isotropic antenna does not include ground.
Right. So when you factor in the human being and everything else on the radio, the antenna gain figures. So if there's a company that's trying to dazzle you with gain figures, you should not be looking at the hypothetical, but you should be looking at the real transmitted gain for that antenna. So does anybody want to say like what people should be looking for when they look at an antenna? Because that's really where we want to be here with this community.
I thought the only way that you could get gain on a vertical was to put like a capacitance hat on a vertical.
No, that's not gain. That's for loading. Loading.
No, I mean a 5/8 wave is is the only antenna that gives gain other than a like the stacked multiples of 5/8 waves, and that's only got a very small amount, perhaps for only 3 dB, which is if you look at 77's antennas. They're 2 5/8 waves, one stacked on top of another, which is why they've got a gain figure.
So for most people that are like putting a car antenna up, or they're going to go buy an antenna for their handheld, they should not be looking at the gain figures because it's a vertical antenna. It's not
vertical antenna.
It's not going to get because they don't have an element additional or behind it to focus RF. So most of the time in real world situations, it's not giving them anything.
But I think it's better to look at other factors than just the gain. Looking at what
please
type of antenna it is. And,
I agree.
For example, if you're mounting the antenna in a spot where you don't have a great ground plane, go for a half wave antenna.
Oh, totally.
And that's going to perform better in those scenarios. A quarter wave can be really nice because they end up being a little easier to, a little more broadband and a little easier to create as multi-banded antennas. The 5/8 wave options are going to give you a little bit more gain and a flatter omnidirectional pattern, a little bit better performance, but aren't going to fit in your garage as well. So, those are all different considerations you have to make for a base station antenna. You can start to look those gain figures, but you're going to be looking at 10 foot or 15 foot or 17 foot tall 2 meter 440 centimeter antennas because they're stacked collinear antennas, and you do get better performance out of those, and you do get some gain out of those.
Sure.
For the original question, a dipole is generally a solid standard antenna to start with, and it's going to perform pretty darn well. It's going to outperform a lot of the compromised, smaller, compact or shortened antennas that you'll typically see for a lot of things. So I wouldn't consider a dipole to be a bad antenna, and I think it's a great place to start for just about any band.
Just to comment on that, yeah, and I'm not, Adam's 100% correct. So, a dipole is a dipole. It's a dipole. Doesn't matter where you build it. There's no magic sauce. There's no plutonium oxide that you can put in one dipole to make another make it perform any different from another dipole. A dipole is a dipole, all things being equal. What you put it on, how you deploy it, how you mount it, the impedance it has to that it's working into, how you match it, that may change parameters that you may not have control over, especially in the handheld environment. As an example, a dipole at a half wave or higher, when you start to model other antennas, when you start to model slopers, when you start to model verticals, when you start to model other antennas of comparable aperture, delta loops, there's a great one. You get to see very quickly just how well a dipole over ground, a half wave radiator over ground, at least a half wave or higher over ground, performs. They perform very well. A dipole has roughly 8.5 dB of gain over an isotropic radiator over ground, and that's a gain standard that most of us use in industry. It's a hard value. It's a hard number to beat. Dipoles perform very, very well. It's why we compare other antennas to them. If you look at a delta loop does not have the same gain, even at height, as a dipole. However, it's quieter. There are reasons why you deploy antennas in the space that you have them and for the purpose that they're designed for. I think again, I don't think there's going back to the original topic, I don't think there is a bad antenna. I think there's unrealistic expectations. Expecting the other thing too is you expect an antenna that is 30 feet off the ground to perform as well as a dipole that's a half wave off the ground at its lowest frequency is just not going to work. It's straight up. So if you're expecting to work DX with an antenna that's with a 80 meter antenna that's 35 feet off the ground, 20 feet off the ground, it's just not going to perform well. So, right. And the other thing too is an end fed, regardless of where you feed it, it is the RF current distribution on an end fed antenna, end fed half wave, is identical to that of a half wave dipole. There is no difference in pattern. There is no difference, very little difference in earth loss. There are differences in how you feed it, which is why NFEDs, most people don't like NFEDs, is because they are unpredictable and they are very difficult to feed at high impedances. So it's one of the reasons why they drag them behind Zeppelins at altitude. They worked very, very well. And when coax became available, which the NFED was a very popular antenna back in the day, when coax became very, very popular and plentiful after the war, a lot of those antennas kind of died. It's nice to see them to have a resurgence, but I think expecting an NFED half wave on 80 meters to perform well as a DX antenna at 30 feet off the ground, especially when one end of it's only like 15 or 20 feet, is just unrealistic. And I have an end fed that sits 50 feet in the air, and I got to tell you, it works every bit as good as the half-wave dipole that it replaced.
Most of my comments were on vertical antennas for like 2 meters. All of this was built on like 2-meter antennas, like for mobile radio installations, because that's a lot of the hype that people get is gain on a vertical antenna you put on your vehicle, right? That's where I was going with a lot of this.
Vertical antennas on mobile antennas, the mobile counterpoise, the mobile ground plane is just loss, period. It's all loss.
Yeah, so everybody that gets suckered into a concept of like, oh, there's more gain on this vertical that we put on your vehicle or on your handheld.
No.
It's not true. You're not going to perform any better than like literally what we talked about in the last live stream. So go check that out if you haven't.
100%. It's all loss. In fact, Alan Applegate's website, I can't remember. Oh boy, you probably know. I can't remember his call right off, but he has a great website that covers a lot of that, and there are some calculations and some math and some good stuff in there that just show you just how difficult it is to make an HF antenna work against a ground plane or counterpoise as small as a vehicle. There's just no way to do it. It's completely asymmetrical environment, so it's a very difficult thing to do.
All right, I am going to turn this around a little bit because we got to say hi to some YouTubers. This is we got in the technical weeds here, so I'm gonna go up from the bottom today. Sorry everybody. We're going to Mike, the traveling ham first. Bottom up. How you doing? Are you there, Mike? Oh, see, now I went bottom up, and now here we are.
Who, me?
The traveling ham, is that you?
I'm here, Josh. How's my audio?
Very good. How you doing, man?
All right. We're just gradually kind of making our way west, hitting a few sites along the way. Got down into the Grand Canyon again last week, buddy. You want to talk about everyone wants to talk about horizontal and vertical antennas. I just ran a vertical down in the canyon.
How'd that go for you?
I got 94 contacts in all corners of the country.
Down in the bottom of the canyon, in the Grand Canyon, or what kind of canyon are we talking about right now?
Forgive me. Yes, the Grand Canyon. I was
Grand Canyon. That's pretty big.
4,700 feet down, and got that out. So I just got that video dropped on Friday. So and then before that, I've been doing some of these power tests you see on the FT891. So just running in at different power levels.
Nice.
And seeing how fast I drain my little battery, and trying to, at least from a battery usage perspective, trying to find what I would at least consider the perfect operating wattage, output wattage to balance the contacts that you make and the battery usage. And those have done pretty well for me anyway.
I like the fact you're out there making videos and exploring some of the kind of interests that you're doing. So that's super cool. And I also love the fact that you're trying to activate from the bottom of the Grand Canyon. That's really cool. And you did successfully. So congratulations. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, in that situation, I was probably a stone's throw away from the base of one particular bluff that was over 600 feet tall. I think it was a 35-degree departure angle to get out of there. And my first two contacts were in that direction. That was between me and the Pacific Northwest. And my first two contacts were in Oregon and British Columbia, or Washington and British Columbia. So it just got out everywhere. It's crazy.
Little knife edge refraction, I guess so. There you go.
Something like that, or just bouncing off the opposite walls. I don't know, but we're going to be continuing out west, and we're going to head right up that beautiful west coast. That's what we're doing this year. That's what we're looking forward to on the Traveling Ham.
Oh, there's a ton of good spots. You're camping out? You're camping as you go, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know if you can catch one, but look up Lime Kiln Campground on Highway 1 in California. It's one of the best campgrounds I've ever stayed at.
Okay, how far north is it?
It's just above San Simeon.
Okay, Lime Kiln. I'll check it out. Thanks.
Lime Kiln. And yeah, there's literally a hiking dude to go to the kilns where they would cook up the lime for using in whatever manufacturing they were doing at the time. It is one of the best campgrounds. It makes California almost look like a different country when you're in that campground specifically. Very, very nice. All right, there you go. There's my input. I appreciate that. That's an awesome feedback. Okay, next is Mark Boondock Echo. How's it going, man?
Did I hear Boondock Echo?
You did.
Boondock Echo?
Boondock.
Things are going well. Tim was gracious enough to invite us over to the kids' table. So I spent an hour with him on the recording, and about another 2 or 3 hours after that, we just chatted for a while. So that was really nice. Still working on the universal scanner controller. So writing some software that'll let us do some basic command of anything with a USB UART interface, and I'm working on abstracting it out. And the basic idea is eventually you hook this up to the Boondock Tango, and you're able to control your scanner remotely. So if anybody wants to pop over to the GitHub and play around, I think I've got it for the BC325P2 and the BC125AT, but it's still under active development. So look out for new code all the time.
There you go.
And then I'm going to have to just stop what I'm doing and make a video about it to share it with everybody pretty quick.
Well, very good. Thank you, Mark, for hanging out with us. I appreciate that. Next, going up from the bottom is Mike, K8MRD, Ham Radio Tube. How's it going, man?
How is it this soon? This is weird. I'm not used to this.
I went bottom up. We're going bottom up.
You broke your spreadsheet today? Now you're breaking the order.
I'm breaking everything. All things are broken.
The YouTubers?
We're breaking them all.
Thank you for going backwards for once. It's a nice pace of change.
Well, for you, anything, buddy.
Oh, well, really? Anything?
Just about.
I need 2 Shure QLX D1 body packs in the G50 frequency range.
I don't think I can help you with that. But
well,
continue with what's going on with your ham radio journey this week.
Well, what a great question for a net.
A net Funicello or just any net?
A ham radio net.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, good.
Trying to throw back to the earlier conversation. So I don't know how long has it been. It's probably been 2 weeks since I've been here.
A little while, yeah.
The guys were talking about dipoles. Holy crap. I feel I talked about this like 2 weeks ago, but holy crap, I did a pod activation with a dipole. Just a freaking horizontal 20-meter dipole. That's all I'm going to tell you because I'm going to make a video.
Good.
218 contacts in an hour and 24 minutes. Yeah,
they work just fine.
Yeah. Oh my God, there is something sexy about a dipole. I'm just gonna say it.
It's a lot of connection points though. When you get down to it, was it an inverted V or a proper horizontal boy?
It was horizontal.
Oh, okay. I'll watch that because I do like. So that's the thing is like most people get into the world of like we just got to put a tent post in the middle of this bad boy and then we're just gonna stake it out and we're gonna be all good.
This was up 25 feet with a DX Engineering 25-foot carbon fiber mast.
Okay.
And 2 17-foot telescopic whips.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and it was. I mean, it could have just been the bands were that great. It was a Sunday at like 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon when this happened. But yeah,
I mean, so. we are officially. So, Mike, you're probably. I think you got into general about the time when the band started dying on the last solar cycle. I think. So every time,
I was licensed in 2016. So like.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I was licensed at the bottom of the solar cycle, and then I got general 2017 or 2018.
No, you're at the bottom. So
yeah,
the last solar cycle, every solar cycle, all the like isotrons and the snake oil antennas
what an
start to come out.
isotron is. You guys said that. What is that?
Oh my! You've never seen an isotron.
Oh boy! So snake oil antennas.
Dave, don't tease me with a good time.
Oh, Mike, look at this thing. Look. I will drop the link. Hold on. I gotta find it on the.
So pure snake oil.
It's a visually appealing dummy load.
Yeah, it's a visually appealing dummy.
I've seen
load.
I remember seeing those in QST.
Yes.
Yes, they reviewed the Isotron. They did. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Well, used to be the manufacturer for those.
So I think that like when we get to the high solar cycle, all bets kind of go out the door. That's when like people start doing man-pack portable with the crazy MFJ loaded base coil on their chest, like all kinds of crap like that. Like just people like, I can make contacts anywhere. It's like, yeah, because we're at the solar maximum. You can do whatever you want. It's like, it's hedonism. It's the hedonism of antennas that we're going through now.
I got on HF at the solar minimum.
I know you.
And the first
now I know that.
antenna that I made was a fan dipole for 40 and 20.
No, but that's a legit antenna. Like my first antenna was a fan dipole as well. A dipole, and then I kept adding elements to it, so it became a fan dipole. But yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
One does.
Yes, I'm with you. But you see what I'm saying, right? Like right now we're at the hedonism of antennas. Like anything goes. If you want to do anything you want, it's gonna be good on HF at this point, pretty much.
Like we were still like you and I reminisced about Jerry the other day, KG6 HQD, God rest his soul, inventor of the KG6 HQD speaker wire antenna. So like I started with for portable inventor. 100% he invented it. No one ever did before.
Never before.
But like I would run that antenna, just a 20-meter speaker wire dipole, as an inverted V. At the bottom of the solar cycle, and this was when nobody knew what POTA was at the same time. So bad band conditions, I'm doing POTA, nobody knows what it was, so it would take me like an hour to activate. But my first DX contact, and I actually talk about this slightly on Monday's video, just the excitement that I got was I worked Slavko. What is it, Sierra 5-1 David X-ray or 5-7?
No, you told me about this. Like us laid up at night, and you're telling me about Slavko. Yeah. I remember this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like me, much like I'm sure a lot of hams, you make an antenna out of 14 gauge wire that you buy at Home Depot, and then you work a country in Europe with your 100 watts of. This was on a Yaesu FT450.
That's right.
Brand new to HF. I'm screaming like a little girl. So yeah, but I've never had the privilege of using. I mean, I have a couple times of using like Yagis antennas with actual gain.
Right.
So I've always been dipoles or end feds or verticals. But even in the solar minimum, now the bands are going to change though. So like you're not just going to hop on 10 meters like you will now and just work halfway around the world.
With a 10-meter antenna? Yeah, absolutely. What are you talking about?
No. I'm saying in the solar minimum.
Oh, no. 10 meters is dead.
Yeah.
It's shut off completely.
That's what I'm saying. So I was on like 40 and 20, and that was it.
Yeah. That's where we all go, right? In the solar minimum, we all go to 20 and 40. And then 80 at night. Like 80 is hot. Like 80 is really good in the solar minimum.
I never did much on 80, but I don't do a lot on anything on 80 on phone. But 80 FT8 is stupid fun. Like there's so much DX out there. I've gotten so many just random islands in the middle of the Pacific that I didn't even know were there.
Mm-hmm.
80 meters is awesome. On my 80 meter end-fed half-wave antenna. So, so I've just been playing around with ham radio, and it's kind of my thing. And I wanted to get out today. I wanted to use that dipole today. I wanted to film a video on it, but I'm like, I had to make Monday's video, so I made Monday's video instead. And the weather is going to suck for like the next week and a half here.
What does
So
that
I don't
mean?
know
What
when
does
the
the
next
weather?
time-
What does the weather suck mean in Huntsville?
It's going to be raining.
Texas. Oh, rain.
Yeah.
It's going to be raining. So like, not so great for bringing all of your electronics outside into a park.
What if you just made a video like the fully weather-resistant radio kit? What if you did that?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because and he left, but Ben, Ham Radio Rookie, made a video a few months ago where he bought this. The hell is it? It's in my closet, but it's behind the door. Just a spray, like a waterproofing spray. It's like a 3M something or other. So I bought 2 of these bottles. It cost me like $32 because you had to buy them in like a 2-pack. So I actually want to spray all of my bags down with this.
Okay.
To waterproof them. But that's not going to help. Like, I'm not going to spray my 7300 with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that won't hail-proof Mike either. So if you're out in the hail, that's...
I think I personally would be okay with the hail. Like, I can put my hands over my head. My car, not so much.
Nah, I've seen baseball size out here.
Well, I wouldn't be immune to that. But I do have, like, I have a tarp that I can set up. Somebody sent me and I still need to use it.
Isn't that what those cheap laptops are for? Putting on your head.
Well, I don't have a cheap laptop though, so.
Oh, that's true. You don't know.
But yeah, if I still had the crap top, 100%. So yeah. And then I have an MPPT charge controller video coming out next week too. Oh, so the main thing, here's the deal. On Monday's video, Mailbag Monday.
Yes.
I answer really 2 questions, but I have 3 subjects. The middle question or subject is one, and I say in the video, it tugged on my heartstrings.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird because most of you guys don't think I have those.
No, I know you do. I know you do.
So a guy asked me about the Zygu X5105. He's got severe arthritis, and it's really hard for him to push buttons.
Okay.
But I can't, and I answered him in the comment that he posted. But I wanted to put this on my video because, like, how much would that suck? Like, you have arthritis in your fingers and you can't push a button on a ham radio. So his question was like, are the buttons easy to push because I have arthritis? And my answer was basically like, I can't judge your level of pain.
Yeah, like, how do you
I know
know?
some of you guys
That's a
have seen me in
question.
pain with like the gout in my toe, and
Yeah.
I can't even freaking walk. So I get it, but
Mike, to be fair, I've seen you operate a radio with your feet, and it's amazing. It's very impressive.
have I? I must have been hammered drunk then.
I'm just kidding.
So really, I want to. I mean, if there's anybody out there that has arthritis, my suggestion was a 705 or something, but we don't have his budget. But because it's more like touch screen, you're not having to actually like push anything.
Well, so my question is, can he work a computer? So can he work a mouse?
Well, he typed me an email.
Is it the drop? So there's a difference between a push where you have to make contact with a center positioned button versus like if you're dropping your finger on a key. So he's
I think it's more just how much effort does it take to physically push the button before it engages.
He might need to go SDR at this point and make it full virtual and just use mouse and keyboard for everything.
But like, who knows how painful it was for him to even type the message to me? That's the thing. So it's like it's so subjective, and that was my answer. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. But I posted that to the world in the video in hopes that somebody with a similar experience could even give him some bastion of an accurate answer.
Yeah, one of the things Josh said, or I think it was Josh anyway, said is go to a ham store and try them yourself.
Please.
I don't think there's any other way.
That's not realistic for probably 99% of hams, though.
It's not.
Yeah, but in his case, I don't know.
I give a suggestion? They're not close. Ham stores are not. If I wanted to go to a ham store, I'd have to drive at least 4 hours, Don.
And you do.
Yeah, because I'm 45 years old and I don't have arthritis yet.
So Mike, I'm with you to a certain point, but hear me out. And then, the distance is still appreciable. I'm not taking away from that. But here's the thing. Like if you have special considerations for your interfacing a radio, then you kind of have to try and test them to the best of your ability. If that means that you're going to go to like a club meeting and you're going to ask people to come out and bring their radios or whatever it is, like you do
Yeah.
have to try that, right? Like I think that's true.
That's
Because
a very valid
particularly
point.
because a lot of the time these radios, a lot of these radios, like you're talking about people that are a little bit older. They're probably retired, so they got a little bit of pensioners' money that they're going to throw around. This is the price of like a new car, at least in some cases. I don't know how much you spend on a radio, but or a used car, a nice, certified multi-point used car that people are going to drop for a new radio. So like they probably should take the time to go out and explore the good interfacing options that exist if they can. So I get it though, distance is a big thing.
That's a I didn't even think about going down that route. That's a fantastic answer. Unfortunately, the video's already filmed, but
comment.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah. Comment. Go ahead.
So this is Aaron. I make CW keys. We actually went.
I've heard of you. How's my key going?
It's going good. I'm actually going to be going and lasering up a bunch, so we'll get the one with your logo on it pretty soon.
I love it, buddy. I love it. And I love you. You know what? Here's the thing. Rolla, help me out. Hang on to it. I'll see you at Hamvention. Just give it to me in Hamvention. Does it make it easy for you?
Perfect. Yeah, that'll work great.
Love it.
Assuming it'll be ready by then.
I will give you...
Oh, no, his key's already built. Like, I think I have 10 back orders left.
This man is
shipped, and then we're trying to make a bunch.
I gotta bust your balls, but go on with your topic.
I don't know if you know of his keys, Mike, but he is backed up for days. This man is completely incontinent with CW key transactions that he has to get through.
Yeah, Mike and I actually went to Pac Beach together.
So so you've hung out with the Rolla.
I did an interview with him. I've done a video, a separate video with the key. Yeah, I have one. It's sitting, well, not right next to me. It's in one of my radio bags, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have a Rolla key already?
Yeah, I mean, since October, yeah.
Oh.
Josh, I have one too, but without my logo on it, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's, you got to wait a little bit longer for the good stuff. All right, Rolla, go ahead, man. Sorry.
So the comment was, no, it's fine. So have you guys ever seen like the spring actuated dynamometers that people use for setting up keys for the amount of pressure they have before they engage?
I have not seen that. No.
I'm sure somebody in the chat has seen them before. You can get them. Basically, it looks like a little dial gauge with a little finger indicator on it. And I have several different scales, and I can go all the way down to like, half grams for how much. And that's how we set them up. And so I was doing blind tests with CW operators being like, okay, I've set this key up. How many grams do you think that is on there? Right. That sort of thing. For the gentleman with the arthritis, we could actually set up a web page where people could go test the button pushes with one of those to see how long it takes to detest. It takes 40 grams of force to push the button. And then he can know, well, I only want something with 20 grams or less.
See, but that's the problem, is that manufacturers have to get on board with that, or a retailer that wants to do that.
I mean, right? Or when we go to Hamvention, just have 4 or 5 guys running around flipping knobs. Just do it.
Oh, that's a really funny idea.
Comment?
Roll, that's not a bad idea. Oh, now Mike's showing off. Mike's showing off right now. Oh, this is like
just flexing a little.
This is like the same measurement tool that you use for like a cylinder bore if you're doing like machine work on like an engine or something like that, right?
Well, that's going to measure travel, like total travel. This is a calibrated spring, and as calibrated as you can get for something made in China, right?
Okay.
And it's just giving the scale of how much force there is. So like on a CW
oh, it's like a push.
We'll put that on the finger position and push and see how many grams it takes before it, trips the oscillator, before the contact's actually made.
Okay. I like it.
And to give credit, I know Charlie with Red Summit RF, he started using them in his videos to like do quality grading of keys.
Ooh, did he start
so we'll
doing
all
that?
send
That's
our
awesome.
radios to you, and then you can measure the buttons, and then we can post it.
That man is too busy to send him anything right now.
Nah, people can wait on their keys.
No.
And to be fair, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm running 3 machines right now in the shop. So,
well, Roland, thank you for coming in with your comment. And yes, I like this idea. You know what I like is the concept of just it's the Yaesu booth, and then somebody clamps on, like they got a clamp, and then they put the little measurement on there. Oh, I have a child here that wants me to do a fingerprint thing. How many? Are you doing work right now? Oh, it's gone.
Comment.
You didn't even ask me. There you go. Okay, you're good. Take it.
Logging me into your account though.
It asked me for time, and I gave you. I don't know what's going on. I have a Lenovo here that is. This is not good. I don't know what happened here.
I don't know what you're doing.
Oh my god.
You're supposed to measure the key press tension for the keys that are on it.
Yeah, no. This is. God, what is happening? I don't want to log into my account. Okay, this is where we hold down the power button. And then it shuts itself off.
Yeah. No, you have to very gently touch the power button. I've got one of those Lenovo's. We use them at work.
The suspense.
Okay, remind me later. Jesus. So normally he has to bring me his laptop if he like. Oh, there it is. Wait, maybe. Hold on. Is that what it's been doing to you? Oh. Okay.
Did Frank get to that by any chance?
That Frank hasn't had a chance to get into California yet, I think.
Okay.
And Mike, what? You're not going to send Mark a 7760? Is that the new one?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have one. I did play with one at when I was at HRO in Plano a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw HRO finally got their stock in.
Yeah, so I have touched. Well, no, I touched one at Hamcation actually, but no, that's way too much radio for me.
So has anybody taken one apart and made sure that those circuit boards they showed you, a year or two ago at Dayton are actually in that box?
Well, they could have just claimed prototype.
Yeah, but then I won't ever trust them again.
Tell you what, Don, buy 2, send me 1, and then take yours apart and make a video about it.
Nah,
yeah, Don,
I'm
you
done
do that.
spending money with ICOM.
What if it doesn't have an OVF light?
You should see my latest video, Mike.
Don, have you seen Jim's latest video?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you need to go watch it.
Go watch that, Don.
I can't believe people are whining about
Jim's
that not
latest?
coming with a bracket. They've never come with a bracket.
Yeah,
but I mean, so many other radios do. I mean,
dude, I totally am on board with Jim on that.
Yeah, and I mean,
100%.
I swear my Yaesus do.
That bracket that the Yaesu mobiles
they absolutely do.
is the best ham radio bracket that's ever been designed, and whoever designed that should be the CEO of Yaesu.
I mean, Don, when even the CCRs come with brackets, come on, ICOM has no excuse there.
Yeah, and then I think Jim was looking at like, and I don't remember, maybe it was less, but it was something like $60 for the thing. Come on,
That's only one of them though. There was $180 for both.
Yeah, but then he's like, how do you mount it? Like, you can't even mount the faceplate to the body of the radio,
right?
Or anywhere else because it doesn't have a quarter 20 in the center. It's got like 2 holes in the back on either side. Like, it's weird. I don't know.
The bracket that I was talking about for 65, Frank, is only the one that mounts it to the radio head or to the radio body. That should come with it no matter what.
So Eric has a very hot take there. If it means the radio is $50 cheaper by not including the mounting bracket I'm not going to use, then I'm on board. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the way I feel about it too. I can't tell you how many of those I've got, how many mounting brackets I've got sitting in a box that I'm not.
Are you just sitting your radio on a desk?
So my 891's not installed in a mobile, right? I use it for POTA.
Right. This is like we're talking about a VHF radio.
Yeah, he's talking about the 5730.
And I've got a 2730, and I put it in the bag.
Right, but if you're going to put this
it's got
in
the
your
head
shack,
mounted on it, right? Rob, I thought it had the head mounted on it.
No,
'cause you got it in that back bracket.
But how would you mount that in your shack? You got to pay $50 to get the mounting hardware. You're not just going to set the body somewhere and then set the head in front of it, and then the second you pull on the microphone cable that connects to the head of the radio, everything falls off the table. Like you gotta
But did you see
bolted down somehow?
Did you see how Jim's gonna mount it?
I'm going to pull this back around. Josh, are you back on board with going
I'm back.
through YouTubers?
I'm back, but what are we talking about? Radios getting pulled off of counters?
2730B that Jim got.
The ICOM not coming.
Mobile radios that don't come with mounting hardware.
Oh, it didn't have it?
No.
Really?
None of the ICOMs do. None of the ICOM
Jim didn't get it. None of them do.
The 2730A doesn't come with it. The 273010 didn't. The 20 didn't. The 5100 doesn't. None of them do.
I will say, one of the best things Yaesu did with their mobile radios was that slide system with those lock brackets where you jam it in there and it's like just a really aggressive click when it comes in. Every company should do that. Like every company should have some kind of base bracket like that. There's no question.
100% agree.
Yeah, that's
Kenwood used to do that.
All companies should do that. The Yaesu bracketing system that they do with the little like lever to release it, that should be uniform for everyone.
Josh, fun fact on that one. Kenwood has been doing that, maybe not on the amateur side, but Kenwood has been doing that for commercial radios for decades.
Until I see it, until it's in my sphere of influence, like that is the standard from my point of view. That is the best thing I've ever seen. The way Yaesu does it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right. So I'm coming back around. Next, thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. Next is Tim, Grayman POTA. How you doing, bud?
No, we skipped Adam.
Oh, did we skip Adam? Oh, no, that was Mike. Oh, we did skip Adam. Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So glad I don't have to follow Adam for once.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Adam, how are you doing, man? Thank you so much for being engaged in the chat. How you doing, buddy?
I'm getting by. I've been pretty busy with work, so I haven't been doing a whole lot radio-wise, but I did pick up some keychain tags that will be available at Hamvention, and as you may have heard, I will be sharing a booth with Ara and Tufton Joshua at Hamvention there. We're going to have a booth set up to sell all of our goods there, and it should be a good time. So looking forward to that, and I'm also really looking forward to the camp out coming up in May.
Dude, it's going to be fun because we have actual catering, so my wife will have a good time.
Dang.
That's my goal.
That's
my goal is that my wife walks away saying this is a fun time. That's hard. That's hard to do. Because she likes room service and 4-star hotels. So if she can be happy, that's the goal I'm aiming for.
Yeah, well, I sent her a message offering to with anything that I can potentially help with. So I'll extend that to to you as well if there's anything that she may not be willing to ask for help with, but you think I can help with, let me know.
She got that message, and she
Fair
was
enough.
very thankful. And then she looked at me and said, "Adam's the kind of guy that will cook breakfast for everybody if I don't say anything right."
True.
And I'm like, yeah, he might do that regardless of anything you tell him. And I was like, you got to be really just clear with Adam what you want from Adam. And she's like, okay, I'll let him know. She doesn't want you to do anything. She wants you to have a good time, Adam. That was the message that I got.
I will
from
have
Leia.
a good time.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. But I know that even if I say that, Adam will still do something. That's the thing. I know that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm very excited. It's going to be a great time. Yeah, I mean, one of the best campsites we've ever had. POTA adjacent. It's in the POTA. You can POTA from the boat if you want to do. You can rent a boat and go out in the lake, and you can POTA from the boat if you wanted to do that. Anything is open to you at this location. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah. So what I'm actually super excited about, I've not done most of the soda summits around that area,
and there's a decent amount, right?
I think there's like 5 or 6 that have dirt roads or off-road trails up to the summits, and I plan to bring my dual sport motorcycle up, and I'm hoping to knock out 4, 5, maybe 6 of those out in a day on Saturday. So it should be a good time.
Nice. Yeah, there's a good group of people that are soda people, and they go up with 4x4s or they go up on motorcycles or whatever, and just get out there and activate the summits, because we're actually really close to 4 or 5 summits right at Silverwood Lake. It's right there. So, yeah. Hope you come out.
It's a cool spot.
Good spot. Anything else going on, Adam? Anything you want to mention?
Oh, let's see. Not much. Busy with work in search and rescue lately. Training, we did our personal rock training last weekend out in Joshua Tree, and we've got our technical rescue training coming up next month, and I do a lot of the teaching for that stuff, so been pretty busy there.
Well, thank you very much for hanging out. All right, next is Tim, Gray Man's POTA. How you doing, man?
Man, dude, Mike, and now I know how Mike feels about having to follow Adam. Holy cow. I don't really have much to share after that, but this week, Wednesday night, Sebastian from Ham 2K Apps, guy that writes Polo, is going to be on the Ham Radio Kids table.
Oh, nice.
We're going to be talking the state of software, modernizing software in amateur radio. Seems like everything has kind of been stunted, at about the turn of the century. And so hopefully we'll have a good conversation about that. And we'll talk about Polo too, but kind of the things that, the steps, the process of going through stuff like that. So that's the big one. Otherwise, I've got the 5.5 amp hour battery giveaway probably Wednesday night. The prison edition Denko battery. So there's like a video that just another day. So 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow is the cutoff for the registration. So there's a video on my site about how to get registered for that.
Right on. Next is Frank. How you doing? Ham Radio Wilderness. What's going on, man? I'm glad you're hanging out. You don't have work tonight, so thanks for hanging out.
No, I do. I'm just waiting for the call to come in. The crew van is outside waiting for us at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very close. Other than that, unfortunately, I'll make it short and sweet. I got nothing.
Okay. All right.
But on the flip side, I plan to hopefully be on more Ham Radio Kids Table live streams with Tim and everyone else. And I'm hoping to get my live streams back up and running maybe sometime in April, it looks like. And then the videos will come after that. Slowly rebuilding things in the shack / computer room and getting things going when I can at home. That's taking priority so that I can produce content again.
Good. I mean, you're a busy guy, though. I mean, you have a real career.
Oh,
That's kind
yeah.
of how that goes, yeah.
And yeah, as I said, I'm basically waiting for the crew caller to call us and be like, yeah, the crew van's outside. We're taking a train from Barstow back out to Needles tonight. Fun.
Oh, those are the best routes to go. From Barstow to Needles. Wow. What a scenic tour you have to go.
Hey, it's on the railroad. We don't have to deal with the interstate, so I'm fine.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you're happy.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
All right. Well, Frank, thanks so much for hanging out with us and all the work you do. I appreciate that. Next is Dawn, N5SKT. So you're up now, man.
All right.
How's it going?
What? Pretty good, Josh. I have released 2 videos, and seems like I'm getting good reactions on them. I actually took that Delta loop that I built, the big, huge honking thing that's out in my back 40, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I took that and Prepham Paul showed this little, like, I think it was a V type mount that they sell in China. And I bought one of those, and I finally got the parts in this week. And I went ahead and used it to build that Delta loop, which looks an awful lot like that big honking thing I have out there. And so I went over the build and, how I kind of put it together. I had tested it a little bit and showed the test on it, and it works really well, which I don't know. For some reason, both those Delta loops just completely surprised me as to how well they work. And then today I went ahead and went out and used it on a POTA, and it did really well on POTA. And it's very easy to set up, and there's no stakes in the ground, no poles that you're carrying out. There is a 9-foot tripod that's for like lighting, photography lighting. And the way that thing ships, that little V thing ships, it has a screw that screws right on the top of that lighting mast. And so you push it up 9 feet in the air, and it gets out. I worked Croatia and France and just several places in Europe. Got up into VE land, so Canada, our neighbors up north. Mm-hmm. And then, a lot of stations just pretty much everywhere around the United States. So I'm really impressed with it, and I think for me it works. I was able to set it up rather quickly and get it on the air, and it's just a couple of those whips and that form and a 4-to-1 ballon with a wire that goes across and connects the whole thing to give you the Delta loop. And it took me about, I think, maybe 10 minutes to set it up. And
so let me ask you,
I was happy with it.
Did you assemble the wire across the top and then down the poles, like before you put it on the mast, or how did you do all that?
There's only one wire that goes across from the tip of one of the whips to the tip of the other whip.
Yeah. So did you build the antenna on the ground and then just hoisted it up on the mast, or how'd you do that? Because I did the same thing with the Christmas lights, and it was a mess. Like picking that thing up and hoisting it on top of the mast, that was a pain in the butt.
Oh, no. It doesn't. Are you talking about? It's like it doesn't weigh anything, right? It's light.
Oh no, mine was super heavy, but I was using like 2 DX Commander poles to do it.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, that one that's out there in the yard, that thing is absolutely huge. And
this is a different antenna. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, this is made out of the like chameleon whips or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And that's what screws into that form.
Oh, the tactical Delta loop.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
Except
okay.
the tactical Delta loop's not as Mike said earlier, I don't know if you were here. That's not really a delta loop.
It's not really.
But but this is, because you go, you have one whip going up, then you have the wire going across, another whip going down, and I have a connection to one whip for positive, if you will, and then the other whip is negative, and that goes into a 4-to-1 balun. And
sure.
So yeah, I mean it's absolutely. I mean, I've thought about, one of the things I'd like to try is to take that and feed it with ladder line. Although, I mean, I don't think that I'd get any advantage from feeding it with ladder line. So anyway, but yeah, it works really well. And of course, the one that's out in the back there, I still am shocked that I get 160 meters with it. And so on this one, it should be somewhere ending around 15 meters, and yet I'm easily tuning it on 20, and
That's cool.
and I'm getting out on 20. So I haven't tried 30 or 40, but I probably, but it probably wouldn't be very efficient on either of those two bands. So, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun making YouTube videos this week, and I actually have something out there. So
all right. Well, keep posting. We like it. We appreciate that. All right, next is Rob, Digital Rancher. You still there, buddy?
I am still here. Boy, it's getting late. I don't usually stay up this late.
Yeah, you're on the other side of it right now because I started
I'm on
from
the other
bottom.
side. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right. That's all right. Give everybody else a little break tonight. Let's see, what have I got going on? So I shared a picture. I've cleaned off my workbench earlier this week, and I'm getting ready to dive into a couple of projects. I'm going to be putting together a CubeSat sim. So that's going to be a fun project. But before I get that off the ground, I'm going to be adding a 70 centimeter LNA to my portable satellite rig for the Fram to Ham SSTV event.
Oh, yeah.
And if anybody else is paying attention to that, yeah, they've actually announced a launch window that's going to be on the 1st UTC, or actually on the 31st of March here. So in just a couple of days, that's going to launch. So we're getting close. And they've also provided TLEs for that launch window. So hopefully that goes off without a hitch. And yeah, there's information out there now on how to track it. So I've got that coming up. Let's see what else. I've finalized most of my plans for my M² Leo pack install. So that's really shaping up. That's going to be like an epic project. I'm really looking forward to that. So we'll start seeing some videos coming out on that. And then I am almost ready to do the channel giveaway. So currently I have an ICOM IC2730B.
All right. 2
elk antennas, some other elk goodies. And this week I also added a Spec 5 Trekker Delta, which is their latest
I saw that.
NRF-based Meshtastic radio. And then I'll have some other Meshtastic announcements probably on Monday that I'll share. So,
right on.
So that's starting to really come together. And a reminder for folks, if you want a chance to win any of those items, you have to be signed up on my community list. And well, let me go ahead and just post that in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's bit.tz bitsy/CL for community list. So you got to be on the list to be entered to win. And I think that's enough. So we'll pass it on. I think Bill might still be out there. So
I will drop.
Thanks for the time, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me drop the link for your chat. I have a weird setup for my chat right now, so I'm apologizing for not sharing that with everybody. But you got, I think, the links there earlier from other people that were posting it. So thank you very much, Digital Rancher.
Yeah,
appreciate
great.
it.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Yeah. And then next is Chris, Radio and Life. How you doing, man?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Is my speaker working?
I think so. Yep. You there? Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hi.
it's working.
Okay, it's working. I didn't know if it was working or not. Been having a little bit of a rough week this week. Haven't gotten much out. Still working on a video that, I don't know. Just having problems with trying to get the frame rates and everything right, so I don't have to cut too much out so people can
Don't
actually
think
see I was
about
doing
it.
something.
You're thinking about it too much. Just post. You're thinking too much. Just post.
I don't want to post a 40-minute video, Josh, on an install, so I gotta cut
You know
some
what?
stuff out.
It's gonna help somebody. It's gonna help somebody. It will.
True.
I promise you. I promise you.
But almost done with that. I figured out some stuff tonight, so I'm gonna go back to it here in a little bit, and
Good.
hopefully within the next half hour, I'll have it ready to go post, and I do have a thumbnail for it, so we're all good there.
Chris,
right.
did I send you an email about hotkeys and DaVinci Resolve?
No, you did not.
I feel I meant to.
Okay, why don't you hit me up in the Discord DMs, and I'll give you my correct email.
I would need to know how to do that.
DM him.
Chris, I'll
DM
make
him.
it easy. Chris, send me the info. I'll shoot it over to Mike.
Okay, sounds good.
You just right click on his icon and say message Mike. That's all there is.
But yeah, so Chris, that was you with the short, right? That emailed me.
I don't think I emailed you with the short. That might have been the other Chris.
Okay.
But I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and I'm just, having a little trouble here and there.
Or maybe it was a vertical video. Didn't you just email me like a week ago?
No, the last time I emailed you is what I wanted for Christmas.
Oh, all right. I'm talking to a different guy then. Different Chris.
Yeah.
Macs do have a right click.
Yeah, they do.
They
And
absolutely do.
It depends on the mouse that you put on it too.
My Mac has a right click and a scroll wheel for horizontal when I'm editing, and it's
Dude, are you using the Magic Mouse, Josh?
no, I'm using the Logitech.
Oh,
yeah.
I use a Magic Mouse to
Actually,
get where it's at.
I actually use a trackball because that's
Trackball's good too. Trackball's good too.
I can just scrub through my footage, like left to right on the timeline with my Magic Mouse, just by using my finger.
Yeah, but you're taking up desk space.
Oh
every
yeah, I
time
don't
you
want a
move that mouse
touchpad.
around.
I don't need a laptop.
No,
on my
trackpad.
desktop.
This is a mouse. This is a tiny little mouse.
Oh, I had the same thing.
That's only fault is when the battery dies. You have to turn it upside down so you can't use it.
I had the same mouse. I had the same mouse. I will send you the link to the mouse I use. It is a better mouse. I promise you. After using
I do not.
that,
There's people arguing. There are 2 finger clicks on a Magic Mouse. If I want to right click, I use my middle finger and I click on the right of the Magic Mouse. If I want to left click, I use my pointer finger and I left click. If I want to double tap, if I want to zoom in, everything's just gestures.
But by the way,
it all
Mike,
works. They're all there.
I will tell you that box, the little box that I bought that I was telling you about my editing, and I bought that little box with all the wheels and all that other bullshit on it. That has completely revolutionized my editing. It has made my editing so
which
much
box
faster.
is that, Josh?
The Tor box. The Tor box.
I was getting ready to say it. I've had one.
Insane.
QWS and spacebar on my left hand, and my Magic Mouse in my right hand.
It's all It's all right on one hand. I don't have to do anything. I'm talking about copying and pasting clips, parts in and out. If I want to,
That's what Command C and Command V is for.
If I want to paste like the attributes of clips right in, and I'm all centralized on one little box. It is amazing.
If I want to copy
So
and
much
paste
better.
attributes of a clip, I just literally select the clip, right click it.
Mike,
hit copy.
I'm not saying you can't do it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I also know how to do it, and this is faster and more convenient and more effective in every way.
I just watched a video last night.
It's
have you
so
upgraded
good.
to Final Cut Pro 11.1?
Yes.
Congratulations on finally getting native adjustment clips.
Dude, I don't even
Just
need
gonna
that.
say that.
I don't
Just
even need
gonna
that.
say
I don't
I know
even
you
need
got
that.
all kinds of plugins.
I don't even need that. I just do
That's
what
the
I
thing.
do.
That's the thing. I know. I love it. I love
It's so
editing though,
good.
and I'm very
It's so
happy and comfortable. My left hand's QW, S, and spacebar. Lots of Command Z.
Okay, I want to take a minute because I hate when other like people come out and talk crap about other ham radio YouTubers on other channels. Jason edits his own videos. Spoiler alert, he also has an
Yeah.
editor. That is true. But he absolutely edits his own videos. And he has a legacy of editing his own videos before he ever got an editor. So
Do you know why?
we're friends. Like, Jason is friends to me. Jason is friends to Mike. Jason is friends to lots of people. We're not talking crap about other ham radio YouTubers on my channel at all.
Do you know what Jason said to me about why he is paying someone to edit?
Why?
Because then he can focus on filming more ham radio videos.
Oh my goodness. What is the
That's why.
negative of that? There's no negative. Like,
Jason is the most selfless person you will ever meet in your life. He's one of the biggest ball breakers.
No, I was gonna say I don't know how to. I don't know
Both
that
are
I agree
true.
with
Both
that.
are
I don't know
true.
that I agree with that.
He's
but
done live streams for Socks for Homeless People.
that's true. That
Him and his wife.
and his multiple affiliation with Animal Rescue. That's true. You're
That's
right, Mike.
what I was
You're-
just going to get next to. Him
You're
and
right,
his wife
you're right.
foster dogs.
Yep.
And relocate them and get them adopted. They're involved in their church. You know what the greatest thing about the Johnston family is?
What's that?
When you walk up to Jason's front door, and he lives in a nice neighborhood, he's got a nice house. In front of his front door, there's a basket full of snacks like chips and things. And then there's also like
snacks
just
and
water
water.
bottles. And do you know what that's for?
People who drop and pick up stuff, shipping. People who drop stuff
Exactly.
off. Yep.
Exactly. Like if you're that selfless, you're thinking about those people who are just doing their job, delivering goods to you, so they leave water and snacks out for them. Not to mention the countless number of times that he's had any small YouTube channel on his channel to help promote them, myself
That's
included.
true too. That's true too. Yep. Many times.
So no, I will defend
Now-
Jason.
Now he will bust
the
your
death.
balls. He will bust your balls.
Yeah, but that's because we're friends.
But I will not tolerate people like calling people out, other YouTubers or anything like that, because again, ham radio is such a already very small niche in this community, and if we start trying to alienate people in this community in whatever we do, then we all lose, right? We cannot win if we're like we're gonna needle them and drop them down. Jason does good videos. Do you know how many how-tos Jason has done to explain DMR and PODA and a number? Just talk about him camping and going off-road. He has multiple channels that you can go follow him on. Like, the dude has taken time to share information to a lot of people that, I don't know, maybe don't have it. And to be like, oh, he has an editor. I hired an editor recently. I'm starting to work with an editor. Why? Because I got a lot of stuff going on too. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If it starts to take away from the content, absolutely tell me and tell Jason if you think that it takes away from his content. But otherwise, I mean, we all got to adapt.
I think
We
his
all gotta
editor's doing a
adapt.
fantastic job.
I think so. I think so. I'm not.
I'll just leave it at this. The only two ham tubers that I've met in person so far, and that's because of my crazy schedule, are Vern Six and T.O. Oh, and Chuck. Just three.
Where'd you
ham
meet
tubers.
them? How did you meet them?
Quartz Fest.
Oh,
Fest
Quartz
in
Fest.
24.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, a year ago. We were all out there. I met the three of them, and I've been on live streams with Jason. I've been on live streams with you and Mike as well. You know,
Yeah.
100% correct. I would trust Jason with my life, and I've never met him, but I know him. You know, we all know each other. You guys know each other more than I know you, but still, same point.
Yeah, no, I would. I was thinking about like how I went into all kind of like hypothetical scenarios in my mind about where I would trust Jason with my life, but I would generally just, in general, trust him with my life. That is true. Yeah. Because I was thinking of like, Texas guy with a gun. Yeah, absolutely. I would trust Jason with my life. But just in
He's
general,
certainly
yeah.
not going to get you in a car accident from speeding.
That is true too. I was
Mike,
thinking
I
about
thought that was my
Him-
claim to fame.
Him and Tim are in the same ballpark there.
That's true. That's true.
The only
and like, you know, he's
Like,
the
I
kind
don't
of
even
guy
know.
you could
Like,
just,
I don't even.
you could just hand him your wallet and you would have everything back into it
I,
like a
I
day
gotta
later.
say,
You know what I mean?
I gotta, I have to say, like, there are so many ham radio people. Like, oh boy, how do I want to put this? It is rare for a YouTube community to have creators in that same community to be like cool with each other. And there are a ton of ham radio people that are just cool with each other. I hang out with Jason. I hang out with Mike. I hang out with T.O. I hang out with a
We
number
sleep
of other
together.
people. We sleep. Two queens in
queens.
Florida every year. Like there is so many situations where like we hang. Adam lives down the state to me. I mean, that's like 3 states to East Coast. That's just the same state in California. But like I hang out with Adam. I hang out with a number of people that are really good guys, and we're just like cool. So like to try and create drama where no drama needs to exist, like let's just have fun with radio. Do you know how complicated this stuff is already? Like just let's just have fun. Let's just have fun with it and enjoy what you like. And if somebody doesn't like what you like, that's cool. Just be like, hey, it's not really my thing. I just don't get it yet. I will get it maybe in the future, but like just have fun. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. All right. Next.
Well said.
Yeah. Next is I think it's Chris W9TEK. How you doing, man? Or don't we already did that? We already did Chris?
No, we did Chris Radio on Live.
Chris
so
Radio
yes,
on
now
Live.
it's-
So yes,
now
it's
W9.
W9TEK. How you doing, man? Are you there? Because I know Bill
Chris-
is champing at the bit. Bill is champing at the bit.
Yeah, Chris, don't make me look bad. I put you on the list. Oh, he's muted, so oh well.
Bill, Ham Radio Tectonics. How you doing, man?
Fellas, how's my audio?
Fantastic as always. How you doing, buddy?
First of all, someone said, "Is Bill still here?" Yes, Bill is here. Bill is always here, and I'm going to join in on Jason. Charlie brought me into this community. Red Summits RF, and Jason is at the top of my list. And there's a lot of you guys, and you probably know who you are. If you call me, I'll drop what I'm doing and come. But he's at the top of the list. He's a good guy. And anyway, this week Bill has been watching Don's videos and playing with antennas. I did get a chance. I had an overnight in Mobile, Alabama, so I got the chance to go out to the USS Alabama and do a port activation, and I made a mess, man. I'm telling you. Ergonomics with the KH1 is something to be learned. I love that radio. It is literally every day you see me, I have that radio with me. It's in my flight bag.
Nice.
But ergonomics with that radio has to be learned. If you're not sitting at, I guess, sidewalk portable, and I wasn't really sidewalk portable, but I was trying to get away from the picnic areas, and there's not a lot there in the first place, but stay out of people's way. And standing up or kneeling or sitting on one knee with that radio in your hand and logging and doing CW is a skill in itself. But I got it done, got the activation done, and then had a couple of nice conversations, which I usually don't rag chew, but had a couple of nice conversations. One 2 meters here at the Green Ham Machine, and another one remote radio on HF. But anyway, while you guys were talking, I was putting together that I think it's WA4MC or I can't think of that right now. But putting together that antenna kit, and I will be doing a video about that. But I know everyone's ready to go if they haven't gone already, and I won't keep you very long. But appreciate you for shouting out, hollering at me, calling out my name, and always glad to hang out with you guys.
Well, we'll see you really soon. You coming to Hamvention, I assume?
By hook or by crook.
Right on, right on.
And I have a good feeling I'm at the Moore Expo as well. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
it's gonna be fun.
Hey, how you doing, Robert?
I'm good. Hey, Bill, I've noticed you've been cranking out some videos, man. Somebody's getting busy.
I don't know, man. I feel like I've been slacking, but yeah, I'm giving it a shot, and I'm having a lot of fun. I only do it if it's fun. You know, I'm not trying to, I don't know, maybe I'm not a good YouTuber. I'm not trying to build a channel. I'm just trying to have fun and do whatever it is that I do, the eclectic thing that I do. But I'm having fun, and I'm going to keep doing that and keep working on the trailer. I guess tomorrow night is Jason's first, I guess I'll promote that for him. Hey,
yeah.
Or for
All
us.
Right. There you go.
His first RV live stream, and Tio's going to be there, and I'm going to be there. Jason's going to be there. I'm terrible at this. I can't remember who else is going to be. Oh, Kyle, of course, Mr. Hiker himself, is going to be on.
Sure.
And we're going to talk about we're going to talk about RVs, and of course, I'm going to talk about ham radio in RVs because that's pretty much all I do. It's kind of my lifestyle. But that's tomorrow night, so you guys try to make that if you can.
Yep.
Good. Oh, I love that. I love that. I wish I. Oh man. I'll tell you what. I'm too much. There's too much involvement with the family. Too much weekends and everything totally taken up with kid stuff and everything else going on. But man, I wish I had an RV that I could just go, or just like a camper van and just go.
Take it from a guy who had 2 little babies not long ago who are now in their late 20s. It won't always be the way it is right now, and you'll get your shot at it.
I think you're right, Bill. I think you're right. I think I just have a little time to wait, and then I want to be out there. I think that's true.
Yep. And you've got the perfect setup with that vehicle. I don't know if you'll have that vehicle then, but
I don't mind getting a second vehicle. I don't care at this point.
You got portable power just with you all the time. So
I know.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking. My trailer pretty much stays in the same place all the time, except maybe I'll take it to Huntsville. But I'm just looking forward to when I do get more time to myself. I'm gonna travel around and do full legal limit POTA. So yeah. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go, and I got to work in the morning, so I'm going to let you go and say 73.
All right.
And I dropped a link to Jason's Unplugged channel as well.
Oh, yeah,
Good man, Frank. How you doing, Frank? Bye. I'll see you.
I'm doing, Bill. I'm doing.
Good deal. Later, guys.
Bill, Bill, something's going on because your videos are starting to get, promoted more to me. So something's going on.
That's a good thing.
It's
called consistency. Consistency of posting. Post more.
You guys
always post more.
This is always the most. Sorry, Josh. You get this. I gotta praise this community. Mm-hmm. This community is the most supportive community I've known in my 60 years, other than my family, of course. But then some of them aren't so hot. But this community is super supportive. And Ape, the Smoking Ape, was the first person to come on to one of my early videos and say, "Good job, just keep going." And of course, good job, and Tio's, be consistent. Tio's out there. I'll never keep up with him, but I'm starting to see some of my own videos and my own suggestions, and I'm like, wow. So,
but right up, right? The serious information is post all the time if you can.
Yep.
Now here's the, if you got a scales, right? They're balanced on both ends. good video, fast, posting all the time. And once you find that equilibrium, post, go nuts.
Working on it.
That's the biggest secret, is once you figure out how to like do something that's good enough. It can't always be the best. All you ADHDers out there, you can't be perfectionists about all this stuff. Like, again, it can't all be hot bangers. Just post often,
and they're not
all the time.
It's interesting, it's like I call my channel the Eclectic channel, and it is, and my viewers are too, because like say I do an antenna or a CW video, I'll get 300 video. I mean, for me, that's a lot. I'll get 300 views, but then I'll do a Node Red remote radio thing, and I'll get the same 80 views, like right in the first week.
Sure.
It's kind of the same, the people watch what they like, and they let the rest go, and they may click the like or subscribe, it's, I always say, if you've been here before and you think you might come back, go ahead and subscribe. So, yeah, it's just a great community. I'm having a great time with this.
Yeah, right on.
So, Josh.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go back around real quick. Another Mark just popped into chat.
Another Mark?
Can I touch on Bill really quick?
You can touch Bill if you'd like. Go ahead.
I mean, I want to touch Bill.
Easy, big fella.
I'm just going to make a really quick statement. Forget all the verbiage of saying like subscribe and all that stuff. Just do the video. Just get to the point. None of that like asking for subscribers crap needs to be in the video. If they like the video, they're going to subscribe.
Mike, I know you watch some of my videos, and I'll tell you, I got 150 videos, and I think I've asked people to like and subscribe 9 times. And
9 times.
9?
Yeah, I'm guessing. What I mean is I have not said it anywhere near 150. I've said less than 10. Like and subscribe, and people do if they want to. They know the program.
Everybody knows how YouTube works.
Yep.
The point is just, and we all struggle with this.
Yep.
Like much like I am now. Get to the point, and then end the video.
Yep. I'll give it a shot. Working on it. Thanks a lot.
So
Appreciate you guys.
I'm a big advocate of like, don't ask for subscribers, don't ask for anything. Just get straight to the point and get on with it. And that's worked out with me, but I come from a background of asking for subscribers, and I might try to do that again next week. I don't really know. I honestly, YouTube is a black magic of sorts, like when you get trended and when you get subscribers and all that stuff. I have found that the winning argument is drop a video at least 2 times a week. I hate to say that. That's the real answer. Drop a video at least 2 times a week and then do a live stream. And I don't even know that the live stream is like what we're doing right now. I don't think this helps my YouTube channel. I could just make videos and I would be way more popular, I think. Hypothetically. But I don't think that's better for this community. And so that's why I keep doing this, because I enjoy it. I have fun. But the reality is I could just crank videos, and that's the best thing to do with the YouTube algorithm.
The numbers of subscribers is 100% insignificant now.
Well,
it's all about watch time. Create videos that people are going to watch.
I think
sometimes more people that are not subscribed to watch my videos than are subscribed.
Yeah, and people make posts about that. Well, if you look, let me interrupt here. If you notice, look at my stats. Most of you, it shows, are not subscribed.
Yeah.
If you just hit the subscribe, you see these things. Don't bother.
So I'm gonna counterpoint to a disagreement a little bit. I think that
How dare you?
I think the subscriber count shows the health of the channel. I've always thought that. I will continue to think that. I think the viewership is the largest contributor to how much like ad revenue you might get. I think that's true. That is true.
Well, it's also how much YouTube is going to promote the video to other watchers.
But the health
your
of the
subscriber
community
count doesn't matter.
But no, it absolutely does. The health of the community.
Number of views and retention.
Now, you say that. That's what YouTube's telling you. I think the subscriber count tells you how many people are actively engaged in what you're doing because they honestly made that selection to click the subscribe.
Right.
They want to be a part of that community. They want to see those videos. They made the
Yes.
conscious choice. So the
But
subscriber
you
count
shouldn't. You don't need to
absolutely
ask
does
them.
matter.
When I'm searching through YouTube,
Yeah.
and certain channels get suggested to me, and I keep clicking on them, at some point I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna subscribe to this guy.
Well, I would
A person
hope.
asking for my subscription,
Yeah,
does
yeah.
nothing for me. It's all about
Oh,
the
sure.
content, and
Sure.
am I
In that sense, yes.
engaged in that? That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, in that sense, yes. But I always anybody who downplays. Okay, let me just say this: anybody who tells you that they're like a YouTube guru and they try and downplay anything, I always just look at them and like how much time have you actually spent doing any of this? I just assume that you have to have both grow in trend. If you only grow in views, then you're transient in nature. You're not trying to build a community, which is fine. That could be your whole entire channel. I know many like million subscriber or multiple million views a month YouTube channels that like they don't have a lot of subscribers because they just make money off of those things. It's like, okay, that's what they do. Versus people who have like many million subscribers, that's a whole different community. And the views that you get for that is a whole different thing. And the way you target them is a whole different thing. Or what you're making is a whole different thing. So you can't just say like, oh, this is the way it goes. There's nothing like that on YouTube. It just doesn't exist.
As a newer tuber, if I may, and how about we go on to Mark? See what he has to say.
Yeah.
I've tried both. I've tried, hey, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And then I've tried, absolutely nothing. But I'll always, no matter what, I've found that having that subtle reminder, like what Jason Ham Radio 2.0 and I do in our videos where we have that like, subscribe, and thumbs up banner that comes up, partway through the video, I have found that actually helps. Where it's subtle, but it's not. I'm not in your face on the camera going, hey, like the video, or to each their own. But as a newer one, I seem to get more subs when I don't mention it, and my algorithm's all over the place, as you guys know. But the live streams, they help as video on demand or VODs after the live stream. So I think it's split, 50-50 with the live streams. That's why I try and do them when I can. But with that, Josh, I'm going to pass it back to you so you can go on to Mark over at Soda Plus, and I got to go for a train. So I'll catch you guys next week.
Catch your train. I would love to say that Sonic Got said, as someone who's been on Twitch for 13 years, the biggest thing to a channel's growth is consistency. Stick with the pattern. So, by the way, Twitch and growing on Twitch is totally different than growing on YouTube. Totally different. But at the same time, he's not wrong. Consistency and posting a lot will always... Think of it like if you're thinking about like growing your body and you're going to go to the gym and you're going to work out and you're going to add an extra gym day. It's like adding an extra video every week. If you can do that, you should. If you can, you should. That's all I got to say about that. Take my words, don't take them. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to help. But yes, Ham Radio no. Grayman Poda, I got your message. I'm sorry that I haven't responded to you. Yes, we will work that out. That video, because exactly.
Oh, dude, you're a busy guy, man. No, whenever you get time.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with this. But we're gonna get into some more nuance. But other than that, we have Ham Radio Plus here. Mark, a friend of mine, a real friend, somebody that I've seen in person and hung out with, that is a ham radio operator. So, Mark, how you doing, man?
Hey, real good, Josh. Sorry for joining late. We were actually having a ham radio dinner over at my place, and we were building one of K6ARK's miniature microphones as the recreational activity.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great microphone.
It is.
I was loving the chat about how to be successful as a channel, because I have now broken all of the rules you just laid down this week. I just did 2 first activations on Friday, 13-mile hike with 4,000 vertical feet of gain off trail. And I didn't even bother to make a video because it was so hard.
That's crazy. You should have.
But
Mark, sometimes
something.
you got to
should have
do that and
selfied
just
it.
go have fun.
I did, Adam, and it was amazing. And I loved every minute of it, especially getting back to the car with gunshots going off in between the illegal firing range and the drug treatment clinic.
Okay.
It was good. It was good. But tomorrow I'm planning a live stream if there's cell phone service. We have no fewer than 5 10 gigahertz stations scheduled to all be on the air with line of sight to each other,
that's cool.
covering the entirety of the South Bay.
Excellent. That's awesome.
And we're going to take a couple new folks up who are still technicians who haven't done a lot of soda, and we are going to put both 100 watts on the air and an 18 dB gain 10 gigahertz system. So that should be just quite the show. So we're going to see if we can get that on the air live.
I'm going to be I got the invite, Mark. I'm sorry I can't come, but I'm going to be with my youngest son's birthday party tomorrow, but I want to be with you. I will watch the live stream. I'll pull it up and I'll try and say hi tomorrow.
Yeah, so,
I love this.
It should be a lot of fun, and there's a video that we're dropping sometime in the next week. I've been sworn to secrecy, but it's gonna be a good one.
Okay, sworn to secrecy.
Sworn to secrecy. So if anybody wants to see the surprise video coming out,
I know. Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
I gotta tell y'all, I'm not gonna say anything. There's a lot of videos coming soon that I think are gonna be freaking awesome for the. It's gonna be great. I'm not gonna say anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be good times. So
yeah. Excellent.
Anyways.
As I know who you're talking about, I already know where we're going with this. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's going to be a good week on the channel, and it should be a great day on the air tomorrow. I mean, it's Southern California. How can you not, right?
That's awesome. Yeah. Have fun. Have fun tomorrow.
Well, party hard for all of us, and I'll look forward to grabbing a drink with you soon.
I will be miniature golfing and bumper boating tomorrow, but I don't know that I might not drag some radios out, so we'll figure out what's going on. But my youngest son's
do a little
birthday's
maritime
tomorrow.
mobile with them bumper boats.
A little maritime mobile. That's maybe we can claim that. My youngest, who was hanging out with us for a little bit, it's his birthday, his official birthday party tomorrow, and it's at a
What
miniature
radio
golf.
did you get him?
He's not licensed yet. They all got to get licensed. I keep telling him, I'm like, I don't think the kids these days just don't understand.
To be fair, Josh.
Yeah.
I bought my Baofeng before I was licensed. And that was really the catalyst, just having that in my hand.
Not only that, but they are licensed, Josh.
Well, we know
you
that
have
the
a
kids
GMRS.
I have
they're
GMRS license. That is true.
Kids can't touch Dad's radios, so Dad's got to get the kids' radios that they can play with Dad on.
And GMRS
we're
is
just,
a great
we're just
idea.
riffing, Josh. We're just I don't think you're that kind of guy, but Ben, stay away from my 7610. Edison, get your hands off that Fang.
Get your hands off that Fang. That's right. That's right, Edison. Get your hands off that Fang.
That's a thumbnail.
So the reality is that like I feel like it's a flower of the most delicate sensibilities when you say like you can have any radio you want. It's almost like that makes it not valuable to them. You know what I mean? Like they don't. There's no challenge in it. They can have it anytime they want. Right? That's the problem. Is that you can say it's like, oh yeah, here's a Baofeng. And they'll be like, oh yeah, thanks, Dad. Whatever. It's the Sistine Chapel, the David and God. You know the finger thing where he's like, like they don't care that I can give them whatever they want. I can give them the world. I can go full Aladdin on this piece and be like, yeah, whatever you want, whatever radio you want, sure, go nuts. Like kids are different, right? Like if they want it, sure, whatever they want, I don't care. But like you can't lead with that, because if you lead with that,
they were the same way 40 years ago. I remember I got into
right?
horses
Yeah.
preteen, and it's the same way when I was a kid. I got into horses when I was preteen, and I was gaga, and the kids that had them were like, they grew up with them, were like, whatever.
Oh yeah. It's like no big deal. It's only $10,000 a month per horse or whatever it was at the time. But it's like, yeah,
Wasn't
it's like, whatever.
It wasn't that expensive back then. I promise you.
It is now.
But,
It is now.
Well, what got me into ham radio was like years ago, you would get these little, walkie-talkies, right? They were like $15 or something at Radio Shack, and me and my brother got one of those, and we were playing around with them. Of course, they didn't work very well, but I got out in the garage one day, and I started hearing all these people talking on it, and I'm like, what are these people doing? And I started trying to talk to them, and I couldn't talk to them. And literally from there, that bloomed my whole interest in radio. And what was happening was I was on channel 14 CB, but those are very wide banded, and I was picking up all the CB guys around me. So it was, I just became fascinated with the whole radio thing.
Yeah. So we got walkie-talkies for days. That's the thing, is they have all the access to it. So it's not that. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe in hindsight we'll figure it out, but don't know. Don't know.
I think it just has to strike you. I mean, your interest.
I did. I've tried to strike them many times. I've hit them with Baofeng antennas. We got a whole separate ranking of antennas that are good to punish children with. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I never did that.
The two-way radio.
That's actually not how I meant it, but yeah.
No, what was that? The 666 antenna.
Oh yeah. Did you like that, Mike? Is that? Do you want to see more of these?
No, so I saw it, and in the chat, I'm like, I'm definitely not buying this antenna.
You wanted those so bad.
I did maybe go to Amazon and look for it. It's like $10, and I'm like, well, no. But it wasn't BNC. If it was BNC, I probably would have bought it.
Yeah. Well, it's got a small diameter. So
one thing we haven't checked out, Josh, I'd be curious. I made a video. Well, you know those like stupid, like short, stubby antennas that I use at all the fests?
Yeah. I do know those.
Rubberized piece of garbage.
Total trash. Yeah, total trash.
But they are, but they're not.
Well, I mean, again, so that's I think, and if I didn't explain this well enough, okay, please.
I hit a repeater 10 miles away line of sight as the crow flies.
Sure.
With one of those stupid little antennas.
Yeah.
I use them mostly because we're at the Hamfest, and I don't want an antenna that's going to transmit very far, because we're all within an acre, right?
So
a few hundred acres, whatever. But
do you remember
there's no reason to have a good antenna, a good high gain antenna, when you're at festivals like we are, because it doesn't matter where you are. If you're inside a metal building or you're out in the outfield, you key up 5 watts on 5.2 or 146.45, which is our YouTubers frequency. Like you're gonna hear them.
Right. So
by the way, the Yaesu clip thing you made for me, I've been hiking with the ID50.
Yeah.
With the Yaesu thing there, it works.
Is it?
Thank you.
I'm so glad, dude.
I'm
so.
Well,
that makes me feel good.
In a video I posted last week, I was hiking. It was my Forrest Gump bench video.
Yeah.
That radio is on my shoulders, on my strap, and it's just vertical.
Nice,
dude.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So check this out really quick. There's this radio that I have. Years ago, we talked about this. The Baofeng T1, a total trap radio, like just junk radio.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Like this is a let me a nubbin antenna radio. It's a 70 centimeter radio. It literally has a little nubbin that sticks out of it.
Oh yeah,
70 centimeter
That's
only.
old.
I
Yeah.
used
It's like
one of
6
these.
years. That's like 6 years ago.
Yeah,
those came
super
out.
old. I use this radio to talk onto a repeater that is 25 miles away as the crow flies. Pure line of sight, no problem.
Yeah, but that repeater is probably on a mountain too.
Exactly. So
By
that's
where
the
you
point.
are.
So that's
Yeah.
that's where I'm going with this, is that like it doesn't really matter that much depending on
In
where
your
you are.
situation.
Well,
But from
depending where you are.
Bloomfield Hills, Michigan to Northville, Michigan,
Sure.
it's just flat. So, Josh, would you be a lamb and drop the STL file in the chat for that ICOM Yaesu adapter thing?
Well, we can do it live because I don't know that.
Well, someone was asking ID50 with Yaesu, Echo Papa, that's his thing. So if you take the ICOM belt clip off, somebody has made a 3D printed like circular belt clip thing that works like the
I found it
for the Yaesu VX7R, I think the Yaesu VX6. It's just
I found it. It's good.
Yes. But it clips onto the ICOM battery. And then you got to go online and find like the Yaesu clip. I paid, I think, $16 on Amazon or eBay or whatever it was for the actual like belt holder thing.
Oh, yeah.
But this allows, because it's round, when you have your radio on your backpack strap or wherever it is, it's just gravity feeds it. So your antenna is always vertical.
So you can go buy this clippy thing for like $8 at the HRO, depending. Like literally, just
They make
walk into
that?
the store. Yeah, the Yaesu clip, the clippy thing, the clip
for ICOM though.
No, you go buy the Yaesu clip.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
like
what I
$8.
said. It's $16. Oh,
On
well,
it.
$8 where you get it. Yeah, but whatever.
So when you print this though, you do need to print it with supports. So I found that you can use tree supports, whatever. It works better if you print it with supports. I've not been able to print this without them. So anybody that's a 3D printer, you do need to use supports.
What filament did you use for this when you printed it?
Yours is PETG, but I've also printed it in PLA, and it's been fine.
No carbon fiber?
No, carbon fiber filament is not nearly as strong as people claim that it is. There's multiple videos on YouTube that test it. It's not solid strands. It's all broken up strands. It's all chaotic strands. So they don't add any rigidity or enough rigidity, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, except I'm pretty sure that's how all carbon fiber is. It's just the way that it's put together.
No, carbon fiber is literally like a weave of fabric.
No, carbon
Right,
fiber,
right.
carbon
It is
fiber cloth.
strands. Right. Strands that are weaved together. Yes.
But if you think about a filament,
It's the Faraday cloth of J-poles.
But if you think about a filament is made up of broken strands. It's not all one cohesive unit. So when you print it, it completely obliterates the strength you get from carbon fiber.
It's just chopped carbon fiber mixed with a binder.
That's right. It's just chopped up carbon fiber.
It's like adding
not the same
breadcrumbs
as
to your
carbon.
meatloaf.
Yeah, it's not the same as a layup where you actually take carbon fiber cloth, which is a real cloth, wrap it around a form, and then you, much like you would lay up fiberglass, you do that with carbon fiber.
All right, I
just got completely ignored.
I am going way too late. I have to end this because I got to go record the podcast. I got to go grab the wife and do that because it is way too late. I got to head out of here. So everybody, I have to say good night to you. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please go participate in the contest if you have not. It's okay if you do it for only a couple of hours. It's okay. Submit your logs. It's a lot of fun. You should experience it. If not doing that, go do the POTAs. Go do all the things. Have fun with radio. Build yourself an antenna. Whatever it is you're going to do. You got a whole day. You know how much I can get done in a whole day if I don't have to do anything else? Think about it. I am going to...
nothing.
I don't know what nothing... I don't know what doing nothing feels like. Mike, I don't know. I don't know what that's like. Might be fun. Maybe. But everybody on the Discord, thanks so much for hanging out. You guys continue to talk, but I got to go. So 73, take it easy.
Later, man.
73.
Hey, Rob, are you still there?
Good. I like that. They're already talking. I can go. It's okay, but I have to head out of here. Thanks everybody for watching. I really do appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time. Go avail yourself of the links if you're considering supporting the channel. Go to hamtactical.com and hamtactical.coffee if you want to get in on some of our monthly coffee. I tell you, it's the best coffee I've ever had in my life, and I have a pretty discerning taste of coffee. And also, I tried all these varietals before I said it was okay. So anyway, that's where I'll leave it. You tell me if I'm wrong. Email us at leia@hamtactical.coffee or leia@hamtactical.com, and then we'll read it on the podcast, and you can hear the live review. Until I talk to you again, 73. See ya.